Chapter 1681. What do you do? Zhang Depeo glanced at Sui Yuemin and asked. I'm the general manager of this resort. What do you think I do? Sui Yuemin was as obedient as a kitten in front of Yang Ming, but he turned into a lion and a tiger in the blink of an eye. Oh, general manager, you can get lost. There's nothing for you to do here. Yao Sanpao walked over and patted Sui Yuemin's shoulder. Sui Yuemin didn't know Zhang Depeo and the store owner, but he knew Yao Sanpao. He was a tyrant in the nearby village. Although he wasn't as badass as Zhang Penbai didn't do these underworld fights after all. He also ran a hotel and security company business. Therefore, Yao Sanpao had become famous in the past 6 months. He had become a rising star. Usually, Sui Yuemin and Yao Sanpao minded their own business. Yao Sanpao knew that Sui Yuemin's backer was the Sui family of Mount Jing. Facing such a huge family, Yao Sanpao still had self-awareness. Although he was a local tyrant, the other party was like a fierce dragon crossing the river. However, Yao Sanpao still came here often to take advantage of the situation. Sui Yuemin had no choice but to give him money to avoid disaster. He just sent him away. Sanpao, why are you here? Sui Yuemin was obviously stunned when he saw Yao Sanpao. Sui Yuemin, we are here to do business. If you know what's good for you, don't be a hindrance here. Yao Sanpao said threateningly. Yao Sanpao, we usually mind our own business. Today, you want to cause trouble in my territory. What do you mean? Do you not put me in your eyes? Sui Yuemin didn't back down at all and said sternly. If this car belonged to another guest, Sui Yuemin naturally wouldn't care about it. The hotel parking lot was just for convenience. There was no obligation to look after the car. If the car was smashed, it wouldn't be the hotel's fault. However, this car belonged to Yang Ming, his new boss. He couldn't just ignore it. He had just escaped from Yang Ming's hands. It was time for him to show off. If he saw someone smashing Yang Ming's car and turned a blind eye to it, what would Yang Ming think when he found out? I say, Sui Yuemin, do you really think of yourself as someone important? I gave you face in the past because your elder brother is Sui Yuejin, the head of the Sui family in Mount Jing. I don't want to make enemies with you. Yao Sanpao said indifferently, now your nephew is in charge. I heard that you were kicked out of the immortal group a few days ago. You bought this resort yourself. Don't think I don't know. If you leave today, nothing will happen between us. In the future, we will stay on our own side and not interfere with each other. If you meddle in other people's business, Yao Sanpao was actually not very willing to be associated with Sui Yuemin, the local resort manager. After all, only when the resort existed here could his own grey industries exist. Otherwise, how could a village have so many people go out to have fun? How could there be so many people to open a shop? Where was he going to collect protection fees? However, if Sui Yuemin forcibly stopped him from doing things, then he could only shed all pretense of cordiality. Anyway, Yao Sanpao was not afraid that Sui Yuemin could move the resort away. The resort was built here, so it could not be torn down just like that. Yao Sanpao, I advise you to leave quickly if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, don't blame me for not reminding you that the big shot who will come out later is not someone you can provoke. Sui Yuemin was full of confidence because he knew that Zhang Penbai was behind him and would come out soon. With Zhang Penbai here, Sui Yuemin would not be afraid of Yao Sanpao. Big shot. What big shot? Do you, Sui Yuemin, have a big shot backing you? It can't be your dead brother, right? Yao Sanpao laughed after listening to Sui Yuemin's words. If your dead brother were here, maybe I would really give him some face. However, don't mention your nephew, that little brat. I don't even put that kid in my eyes. I was wondering who was so arrogant. It turned out to be Yao Sanpao. Why? Are you tired of being a bully in your own village, so you want to come out for a walk? Zhang Penbai's voice sounded. Although he did not see how Sui Yuemin had a conflict with Yao Sanpao before, since Sui Yuemin was chosen by Yang Ming, Zhang Penbai naturally had to protect him. What's more, Zhang Penbai had long disliked this Yao Sanpao. This guy was too arrogant. When Gui Jinbiao was here, this kid was honest. He took over the territory of Jiduan City, stopped playing the underworld, and started doing legitimate business. This Yao Sanpao thought that Zhang Penbai was easy to bully, so he started to act arrogantly. I thought it was some big shot. It turns out to be Zhang Penbai. Yao Sanpao saw Zhang Penbai coming over and said with some contempt. Zhang Penbai disliked Yao Sanpao, but didn't Yao Sanpao also dislike Zhang Penbai? Zhang Penbai in Jiduan City was like a mountain pressing on Yao Sanpao's head, making him unable to turn over. Although he was already the boss in name in this mountain village, Zhang Penbai was the boss of Jiduan City. His village was just a village in Jiduan City. The difference between them was like heaven and earth. Yao Sanpao had long wanted to replace Zhang Penbai. You said that you are already in a legitimate business. Why do you still want to be the boss? Isn't this equivalent to standing in a latrine pit and not taking a shit? In the past, Yao Sanpao was afraid of Zhang Penbai's power, so he didn't dare to do anything to him. On the surface, he still pretended to be very respectful to Zhang Penbai, but today was different. Today, he had a fourth brother, Feng Xibiao, who was a character at the level of the King of Fighters. Even if Zhang Penbai's people were powerful, they would probably be vulnerable in front of Feng Xibiao. Zhang Penbai listened to Yao Sanpao's arrogant Chinese, and the muscles on his face twitched. He didn't expect Yao Sanpao to be so bold. He dared to call his name with a face of disdain. Previously, although Zhang Penbai knew that Yao Sanpao was not very respectful to him, he still had a respectful appearance on the surface. This made Zhang Penbai not think of doing anything to Yao Sanpao. Yao Sanpao, are you a little tired of living recently? Zhang Penbai frowned and glanced at Yao Sanpao. Yao Sanpao smiled strangely and patted Feng Xibiao's shoulder. Fourth brother, this person will be handed over to you. Feng Xibiao nodded and took a step forward. He looked at Zhang Penbai and asked, Third brother, is this the martial arts master? No, he is just a pretentious person. He opened a few places in Jiduan City and didn't know what to do. He came to our West Star village to show off. Yao Sanpao said, Fourth brother, teach him a lesson. No problem. Feng Xibiao nodded. Since he is not a martial arts master, there is no need for me to waste time with you. With that said, Feng Xibiao rushed to Zhang Penbai. Zhang Penbai was also a fighting master. When he saw that Feng Xibiao came with ill intentions, his face suddenly changed. He didn't expect Yao Sanpao to dare to fight with him today. Did this Yao Sanpao eat a leopard's gall, or did he have someone to rely on? Who is this fourth brother? However, before Zhang Penbai had time to think about it, Feng Xibiao threw a punch. Zhang Penbai just wanted to avoid it, but he was shocked to find that the speed of the other party's punch was so fast. Before he could react, the punch hit Zhang Penbai's nose bridge. Blood suddenly flowed out. Zhang Penbai was also knocked to the ground and fainted. No matter how good Zhang Penbai was at fighting, after all, he hadn't fought for a long time. Moreover, how could he be the opponent of a professional boxer? Zhang Penbai's underling, Chang Zi, just wanted to see how Zhang Penbai was doing, but he suddenly found a punch coming quickly. This was his last trace of consciousness before he fainted. The underlings brought by Yao Sanpao all looked at Feng Xibiao with admiration. This was an instant kill. It was a real instant kill. When they usually fought, it was often a group fight. Several people fought against one person. After a long time, they still might not be able to take down the person. This Feng Xibiao was good. He killed Zhang Penbai and the underling with one punch. Suddenly, Feng Xibiao's image immediately became a godlike existence. This was Zhang Penbai, a person they were very afraid of. Feng Xibiao actually did not hesitate to beat him down. Chapter 1682. Fourth brother, you are so powerful. Is this the perfect combination of speed and strength? Asked one of the underlings excitedly. This is naturally nothing. Feng Xibiao waved his hand mysteriously. They are just small fries. I only use less than 10% of my strength. Ah! You are so powerful with less than 10% of your strength, exclaimed the underlings. In a moment, when that martial arts master comes, I will use more than 50% of my power. At that time, you can take a closer look. That is the perfect combination of strength and speed, Feng Xibiao said. Sui Yuemin didn't expect Yao Sanpao to be so arrogant that he didn't even put Zhang Penbai in his eyes. Although Sui Yuemin was eager to show his loyalty to Yang Ming, he couldn't risk his life. After Feng Xibiao knocked down Zhang Penbai, he quickly ran in the direction of the villa. Third brother, that kid ran away. Feng Xibiao looked at Sui Yuemin's back and said to Yao Sanpao, "And let him go. He is going to inform that martial arts master. I can see that Zhang Penbai and Sui Yuemin are probably in cahoots with that kid." Yao Sanpao wasn't stupid. He had already inferred the relationship between these people from the fact that Sui Yuemin stopped him from smashing the car. However, Yao Sanpao wasn't worried about anything. He might as well go all the way today. Since he had already knocked down Zhang Penbai, he didn't need anyone else. When the martial arts master came, he would let Feng Xibiao knock him down and teach him a lesson. Then, he would establish his position in Jiduan City in one fell swoop. Not good. Brother Yang, something happened. Sui Yuemin ran to the door of Yang Ming's room. He was relieved when he saw that no one was chasing after him. He didn't expect Yao Sanpao to come here to cause trouble today. He didn't even put Zhang Penbai in his eyes. Obviously, he was prepared. Yang Ming heard the loud banging on the door and Sui Yuemin's yelling. He opened the door of the room in surprise. He looked at the panicked Sui Yuemin and asked, "What happened to you?" "Brother Yang, not good. Something big happened," said Sui Yuemin. Yao Sanpao brought a group of people to cause trouble. Yao Sanpao. Who is Yao Sanpao? Yang Ming had never heard of this name before. Yao Sanpao is a bully in the West Star village in the West Star Mountain. He has a few subordinates and is very arrogant in this area. However, he has never caused me any trouble before, Sui Yuemin said in one breath, but I don't know what happened today. He brought a few people to the resort and went straight to your BMW. He wanted to smash the car. I happened to see it when I went downstairs. I quickly stopped him, but Yao Sanpao didn't give me face. Then, Brother Bai went out. In the end, Yao Sanpao ordered a person called Fourth Brother to punch Zhang Penbai and his men to the ground. I quickly went upstairs to report to you. Although Sui Yuemin was panicking, his words were concise and concise. Yang Ming easily understood what he meant. Generally speaking, a person named Yao Sanpao came to cause trouble, and the reason was that he wanted to smash his car. Yao Sanpao. But I don't remember knowing such a person. Yao Sanpao. What is his relationship with Zhang Depeo? Yang Ming suddenly thought of Zhang Depeo from the barbecue shop. The only person he knew with the word Pao in his name was Zhang de Peo. There was no one else. Zhang de Peo. He is Yao Sanpao's sworn brother. Yao Sanpao is his third brother. Sui Yuemin knew Zhang de Peo, so he blurted it out. Oh. Sworn brother. Yang Ming nodded. That's it. I know why they are here. Yang Ming didn't expect that the owner of the barbecue shop didn't give up. Zhang de Peo used his so-called sworn brother, Yao Sanpao, to get back at him, so he wanted to smash his car first. Unfortunately, Sui Yuemin and Zhang Penbai saw it. As a result, Zhang Penbai was unlucky, and Sui Yuemin ran up to inform him. Most likely, Yao Sanpao deliberately let Sui Yuemin come up to inform him to go downstairs. Let's go. I'll go down with you and take a look. Yang Ming stood up and said. Yang Ming. I want to go too. When Jing Xiaolu heard that the matter was caused by Yang Ming, she wanted to join in the fun. Then let's go together. Yang Ming simply didn't care about Zhang de Peo and Yao Sanpao, so when Jing Xiaolu proposed to go together, Yang Ming easily agreed. Brother Yang, there is a guy on the other side who is very powerful. He knocked Brother Bai and his follower to the ground with one punch. They also brought a large group of people with them. Do you think? Sui Yuemin asked with some worry. No need. Let's go down directly. Yang Ming stopped Sui Yuemin from continuing. Sui Yuemin probably meant that Yang Ming shouldn't go downstairs first. He should call someone and wait for a while before going down. Sui Yuemin saw that Yang Ming insisted, so he didn't say anything more. He went downstairs with Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu. When Yang Ming appeared at the door of the villa, he saw a BMW with the front and back windows smashed. Naturally, it was Jing Xiaolu's car. It was probably because the car's sheet metal structure was relatively strong. Only the glass was broken. In such a short time, it didn't cause any more serious damage. Third brother, fourth brother, it's him. Zhang de Peo recognized Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu at a glance. It's that kid. Fourth brother, I'll leave it to you. Yao Sanpao knew that the main character was here, so he patted Feng Xibiao's shoulder and said to him. Feng Xibiao nodded and took a few steps in the direction of Yang Ming. I heard that you are very powerful. Are you a martial arts master? Can one person fight several people? Hee, kid, I will show you today what is the perfect combination of speed and power. Yang Ming looked at Feng Xibiao's appearance and frowned. This person is so familiar. I must have seen him before. Wait, your name is Feng Xibiao, right? Yang Ming did not answer Feng Xibiao's question but asked directly. Feng Xibiao didn't expect this kid in front of him to be able to call out his name. He was stunned. How do you know? You have a younger brother called Fei Biao, right? Yang Ming continued to ask. You, who are you? It was not a rare thing to be able to call out Feng Xibiao's name. When Feng Xibiao was boxing in the underground boxing arena, there were many people who watched his matches. It was possible to know him, but there were not many who could call out his younger brother's name. I didn't expect you to have recovered. Yang Ming looked at Feng Xibiao and said faintly, I thought that my apprentice had beaten you into a vegetative state. Yang Ming saw Feng Xibiao's stunned expression. He had completely confirmed Feng Xibiao's identity. This Feng Xibiao was the Southern Underground boxing champion that Fei Biao, one of Yu Xiangda's underlings, found to fight with Hou Junhan. As a result, he was killed by Hou Junhan on the spot. Because Yang Ming had carefully studied this person, he had a deep impression of him. Your apprentice? Who is your apprentice? When Feng Xibiao heard Yang Ming's words, he was even more stunned. There was an ominous premonition in his heart. Feng Xibiao, don't you remember? Yang Ming smiled and looked at Feng Xibiao. Did I beat you until you lost your memory? You are Hou Xinhan's master. After Feng Xibiao heard the name, his face suddenly became distorted. Hou Xinhan was an eternal pain in his heart. That kind of strength was not something he could compete with. The opponent's easy instant kill had already caused a great psychological shadow to Feng Xibiao. In the past 6 months of recovery, he had never reached his peak strength. It was also related to this shadow. It could be said that the 3 words Hou Xinhan had become Feng Xibiao's heart demon. What Feng Xibiao did not expect was that the person in front of him was actually Hou Xinhan's master. Of course, Feng Xibiao was not a person who was easy to fool, but this matter was really secretive. Even Yao Sanpao did not know about it. If it was not the person involved, who would know about this matter? Chapter 1683. Yang Ming could say his name and know Hou Xinhan's name. Feng Xibiao couldn't help but believe it. Although he had doubts in his heart, he didn't dare to gamble. If this person was really Hou Xinhan's master, then wouldn't he be dead this time? Thinking of this, Feng Xibiao felt that it was not good to stay here for a long time. He had experienced Hou Xinhan's speed. He couldn't give Yang Ming a chance to make a move. Therefore, Feng Xibiao pretended to be careless. He suddenly turned around and ran. His 2 legs seemed to be equipped with wind and fire wheels. His speed was simply beyond imagination. A man like the wind rushed out 100 or 200 meters with a whoosh. It could be said that Hou Xinhan's name had become a curse for him. It had become a demon in his heart. He couldn't jump out of this vicious circle. Even in the middle of the night, he often woke up from his dreams. Hou Xinhan's incredible speed and power woke him up from his sleep again and again. This had become a nightmare. Even if Feng Xibiao heard any of the 3 words, Hou Xinhan, in his life, he would feel uncomfortable and even tremble. Once bitten, twice shy. Feng Xibiao was such a person. So at this time, the only thing he could do was to escape. The farther the better. In his opinion, even if the person in front of him wasn't really Hou Xinhan's master, at least he must be related to Hou Xinhan. Otherwise, it was impossible to know such a secret thing. At that time, he was invited by Yu Xiangda's subordinate, Fei Biao. Not many people knew about this matter. After he was injured, he went into hiding for a long time. It was only recently that he recovered from his injury that he reappeared in Jianghu. How did this brat know about such a secretive matter? Therefore, Feng Xibiao would rather believe it than not. Therefore, out of the 36 stratagems, escape was the best stratagem. That was why he ran so fast. Yang Ming saw Feng Xibiao's arrogant appearance before and thought that he had some tricks. He didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, Feng Xibiao ran faster than a rocket. He was stunned. At the same time, Zhang Depao, Yao Sanpao, and Yao Sanpao's underlings were stunned. Everyone looked at each other. What is Feng Xibiao doing? Could it be that this is a battle between experts? A perfect combination of speed and strength. One of the subordinates exclaimed in amazement, his speed is really fast. But, where is the power? Nonsense. How could he run so fast if he didn't have strength? Another subordinate pretended to understand and said, "Oh, so that's how it is. So this is the perfect combination of speed and power." The first subordinate who asked the question suddenly realized. Yeah, it's very fast. The others also sighed. But why isn't he attacking? Why are you running in the opposite direction? We don't know about that. Experts are always unpredictable, right? Maybe his moves are too awesome, so before he uses them, he needs a certain amount of buffer distance, so he's preparing for his moves. One of the subordinates said, thinking that he was smart. That makes sense. After the other subordinates heard this, they nodded in agreement. That should be the case. An expert is indeed an expert, but why is he running further and further away? This should be enough distance, right? He hasn't stopped yet. Seeing that Feng Xibiao was running further and further away, one of the subordinates asked in confusion. Ugh! When everyone heard this, they felt that it was indeed the case. Isn't this too far? What does this Feng Xibiao mean? In the beginning, Zhang Depao and Yao Sanpao had the same idea as those stupid subordinates. They were watching Feng Xibiao's perfect combination of speed and power performance. Previously, Feng Xibiao's method and speed of killing Zhang Penbai and Xiao Qiangzi had deeply shocked everyone's heart, so everyone was very confident in Feng Xibiao. But now, Feng Xibiao was running further and further away, and he didn't even look back. No matter how stupid Yao Sanpao was, he could tell that there was an accident. If there was a need for a buffer to use a big move, only his stupid subordinates could think of it. This wasn't a TV series, so what was the need for a buffer? Moreover, it wasn't like Yao Sanpao didn't know the size of the underground boxing arena. The boxing arena was only so big, so why would he use a big move? Was there a need for such a long distance? Wouldn't he be running to the audience? It was simply impossible. Therefore, it could be concluded that Feng Xibiao wasn't showing the perfect combination of speed and power at all, nor was he preparing to use a big move. He was simply running away. After Yang Ming said a sentence, Feng Xibiao was so scared that he ran away. Although Yao Sanpao was unwilling to believe this fact, the fact was in front of him. All of you, shut up. Yao Sanpao was very impatient with his underlings' chatter. After glaring at them, he was a little overwhelmed. Feng Xibiao ran away without saying anything. What were the few of them still standing here for? Feng Xibiao didn't dare to offend someone. What ability did they have to offend the person in front of them? The few underlings didn't know why Yao Sanpao was angry, but they could see that the situation was not good, so they quickly closed their mouths. Yang Ming naturally wouldn't let Feng Xibiao run away so easily. He hadn't settled the matter of his car being smashed. Also, weren't Zhang Penbai and his underling also defeated by Feng Xibiao? Are you going to leave just like that? We haven't settled our accounts yet. After saying that, Yang Ming raised his hand, and a flying needle shot out from his fingertips at an unparalleled speed. It directly hit the snow path on Feng Xibiao's leg. Feng Xibiao's right leg, which was originally crisscrossing back and forth, suddenly stagnated as if it didn't listen to his command. It was frozen there. His whole body was still rushing forward due to inertia. His left leg also continued to move forward under the control of his brain. As a result, Feng Xibiao lost his center of gravity and fell to the ground. With a bang sound, he fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Ah! A scream came out from Feng Xibiao's mouth. It was extremely miserable. Although it was far away from everyone, it was exceptionally clear in this quiet night in the empty resort. Zhang Depao was dumbfounded, Yao Sanpao was dumbfounded, the shop owner was dumbfounded, and all the underlings were dumbfounded. Even Sui Yuemin stood there with his mouth wide open in disbelief. Only Jing Xiaolu was sober and proudly standing beside Yang Ming. She thought in her heart, "You don't even look at your own strength. How dare you act cool in front of my husband? You're really courting death." Yang Ming's seemingly casual move actually knocked down Feng Xibiao, who ran for more than 200 meters. What kind of terrifying kung fu is this? Could it be the legendary acupuncture point through the air? Although they didn't want to believe it, there was no other explanation that could prove this. A casual wave of his hand and a person fell to the ground. This was the legendary martial arts master. "You, bring him back." Yang Ming pointed at Yao Sanpao and ordered him. "Ah, me?" Yao Sanpao pointed at himself and asked in astonishment. It's you. You can also escape with him, but you have to bear the consequences yourself. Yang Ming said faintly. I don't dare, I don't dare. Yao Sanpao was already dumbfounded after seeing Yang Ming's means. How would he dare to escape? If he escaped, wouldn't he be hit by Yang Ming's acupuncture point through the air like Feng Xibiao? Yao Sanpao had completely lost the thought of finding trouble with Yang Ming at this time. He had been completely shocked by Yang Ming. At this time, he only thought that it would be good if he didn't get killed. Yao Sanpao turned around and ran in the direction of Feng Xibiao. Until he ran to Feng Xibiao's side, Feng Xibiao still couldn't stand up. His entire right leg seemed to be crippled as if it was no longer his own. Half a year ago, the heartfelt fear and horror of Ho Shinhan surged into Feng Xibiao's heart again. When Yang Ming said, "Are you going to leave just like that? We haven't settled our accounts yet." When this sentence was said, Feng Xibiao thought it was funny at that time. Of course, I have to run. If I don't run, why would I stay here? Even if I run away, what can you do to me? Feng Xibiao was still very confident in his escape speed. Moreover, Yang Ming's car had been smashed, so Feng Xibiao was not afraid that Yang Ming could catch up. However, this was just his wishful thinking at the beginning. Chapter 1684. Before this thought was confirmed, Feng Xibiao felt his right leg suddenly go numb. He couldn't control it anymore, and his whole body fell heavily to the ground. Feng Xibiao tried to stand up, but he was horrified to find that his right leg really couldn't move. It couldn't move at all. It was like this leg didn't grow on his body. It was not under his control at all. At this moment, Feng Xibiao knew that Yang Ming's sentence was not said casually, but it was put into action. Feng Xibiao now had no doubt that Yang Ming was Ho Shinhan's master. Only that person's master could do this. Feng Xibiao knew that he had fallen, completely fallen. After figuring out the truth, Feng Xibiao was not in a hurry to escape because he knew that he couldn't escape anyway. Even if he struggled, it was just futile. He had misjudged the injuries of the four underlings. It wasn't that Yang Ming's strength wasn't enough, but that he didn't want to kill them. When Yao Sanpao ran to him, Feng Xibiao stood up with his help and limped in the direction of Yang Ming. He couldn't run away, so he could only admit defeat. Although he didn't know what was waiting for him, Feng Xibiao still braced himself and went forward. I was thinking at the time. I didn't offend anyone here. Why are there so many people looking for trouble with me? After Yang Ming waited for Yao Sanpao to leave, he looked at Zhang Depeo and the shop owner with a smile. It turns out that you two guys are playing tricks. This, misunderstanding. The shop owner was really dumbfounded this time. Even the badass Feng Xibiao turned around and ran when he saw Yang Ming. How could he be Yang Ming's opponent? The shop owner regretted it. He regretted being so stingy. Why couldn't he learn a lesson after suffering a loss and still think about revenge? If he had swallowed the insult, wouldn't there be no later matter? Therefore, the shop owner's face once again showed an expression of embarrassment and fear. He said the same words as he said to Yang Ming in the barbecue shop before, which was a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Yang Ming couldn't help but laugh after listening to the shop owner's words. You told me before that it was a misunderstanding. Why did you come to me again? This. The shop owner was speechless for a while. His face was flushed. He didn't know how to explain it, but he was scared. He was afraid that Yang Ming would deal with him like how he dealt with Feng Xibiao. He clenched his teeth and said, I was wrong. Yes, I was angry before and I wanted to take revenge. But now, I don't want to and I don't dare to. Please spare me. The shop owner's honesty made Yang Ming stunned. You admit it. I'm going all out. The shop owner seemed to have really thrown caution to the wind. Knowing that he couldn't escape now, he didn't care anymore. Yang Ming really didn't think about how to deal with the shop owner. There were too many such people. If Yang Ming dealt with every one of them, Yang Ming couldn't deal with them all. If he killed the shop owner because of this, Yang Ming couldn't do it. For a while, Yang Ming was also a little embarrassed. He didn't know what to do, so he turned to look at Jing Xiaolu. Xiaolu, what do you think? Let him pay for the car. My car was smashed. How can I let him go so easily? Jing Xiaolu was looking at money. She didn't lose anything, but her car was smashed. Naturally, she wanted to blackmail the shop owner for a sum of money. Yang Ming understood Jing Xiaolu's meaning as soon as he heard it. He couldn't help but laugh at her greed. However, he had to say that this was the best solution. It was fine to extort a sum of money from the shop owner. It was enough to let him learn a lesson. Pay for the car, I will pay. I will pay however much it is. The shop owner was now afraid that Yang Ming would put him in the hospital for a year and a half. When he heard Jing Xiaolu's words, it seemed that he could pay to avoid disaster. How could he not agree? He immediately replied. When I bought this car, it was 1,030,000 yuan. The procedures are done. It's 1,200,000 yuan. How much do you want to pay? Asked Jing Xiaolu. Who? The shop owner breathed a sigh of relief. He knew the value of this car. It seemed that Jing Xiaolu didn't blackmail him too much. He could take out more than 1 million yuan. In the past few years, the shop owner had accumulated a savings of 5 million yuan from cheating and cheating. The shop owner didn't want to offend this kind of person who even Feng Xibiao ran away when he saw her. He would just give them some money and be done with it. Can I pay 500,000 yuan? The shop owner thought about it. A car worth more than 1 million yuan. I smashed it like this. 500,000 yuan should be enough for you to repair the car, right? 500,000 yuan. This is my new car. I just bought it. Jing Xiaolu looked at her broken car with distress. How about this? You take 500,000 yuan. Then Yang Ming turned his head and looked at Yao Sanpao, who just came back with Feng Xibiao. Both of you are involved, right? Both of you take another 500,000 yuan. It's a total of 1 million yuan. Let's forget about this. Yang Ming could see that Feng Xibiao was the kind of person who was as timid as a mouse, so Yang Ming didn't need to kill this kind of person. The next time Feng Xibiao heard his name, he would be so scared that his legs would cramp. He wouldn't have the thought of revenge at all. Okay. Without waiting for Yao Sanpao to answer, Feng Xibiao nodded and said, I will pay. Don't mention 500,000 yuan. I can even pay 1 million yuan. Feng Xibiao was a rich man. In his first few years of boxing, he earned a lot. Now, he had at least 10 million yuan in net worth. So, he was very happy that he could pay to avoid disaster. Yang Ming was already equivalent to the existence of the devil in his eyes. Oh, that's fine. I was going to let you take 500,000 yuan. Since you are willing, then 1 million yuan is fine. Yang Ming was very satisfied with Feng Xibiao's approach. Feng Xibiao nodded quickly. I will take 1 million yuan. Big brother, you see that I took an extra 500,000 yuan. Can you cure my leg? Although Feng Xibiao didn't know what happened to his leg and why he couldn't feel it until now, he thought that it must be because Yang Ming used some high-grade kung fu to seal his acupoints. The one who started the trouble should end it. He estimated that if Yang Ming didn't care, even if he went to the hospital, he might not be able to be cured. It was possible that he would be disabled for life. So, he felt that it was worth it to spend an extra 500,000 yuan to buy health. Now, he was afraid of Yang Ming from the bottom of his heart. So, when Yang Ming made his right leg disabled, he believed that he would be like this for the rest of his life. Oh, seeing that you have a good attitude in admitting your mistake and actively compensating the loss of the victim, then I will treat you. Yang Ming nodded and said with a smile, I originally planned to sell you a pair of crutches for the rest of your life. Ah! Feng Xibiao was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. He thought that it was a close call. Luckily, he said that. Otherwise, he would be disabled for the rest of his life. Feng Xibiao thought that he was lucky. This 1 million yuan was worth it. Yang Ming casually patted Feng Xibiao's waist twice. Suddenly, Feng Xibiao felt that his right leg was back. He was overjoyed. He turned around twice on the ground and exclaimed, Hey! My leg is really healed. I can really walk. It's too magical. Look, I can even jump. As he said that, Feng Xibiao even jumped twice on the ground, indicating to everyone that his leg was completely healed. Yang Ming looked at Feng Xibiao's stupid behavior and was a little speechless. Yao Sanpao, Zhang Depao, and the shop owner were very surprised. Feng Xibiao was so good. They knew that Feng Xibiao had no reason to lie. The only possibility was that Yang Ming really knew the legendary acupuncture point Kung Fu, which was why he could instantly heal Feng Xibiao's leg. Sealing pressure points through the air, these were all legendary existences. Could he afford to provoke such a powerful figure? Originally, the shop owner thought that the 500,000 yuan he took out was a lot. Now, it seemed that it was not much. Yes, it was really not much. Chapter 1685. Feng Xibiao was very excited that his leg was healed, so he didn't hesitate. He immediately said, Brother, give me your card number. I will call and transfer the money to you now. Feng Xibiao knew very well that he couldn't go back on his words. Since Yang Ming had the ability to heal his disability in an instant, he also had the ability to make him disabled again in an instant. Feng Xibiao was the kind of person who would never provoke you again as long as you were convinced. This was also the reason why he had been safe and sound in the underground boxing for so many years. Otherwise, once he lost and wanted to seek revenge, he would probably have died many times over. How could the gap in strength be so easy to surpass? Especially after reaching a certain limit, it was even more impossible to move forward. As a top boxer, Feng Xibiao was very clear about this. Sometimes, a little gap in strength could become a fatal reason. Therefore, Feng Xibiao would never find someone stronger than him to take the initiative to provoke. If he met someone stronger, he couldn't even escape, let alone provoke them. Wasn't that courting death? Especially when he met someone like Yang Ming, he couldn't even run away. It was even worse. Fortunately, he could pay to avoid disaster. It seemed that Yang Ming didn't mean to kill him. This was the best result. Give him the account number. Yang Ming glanced at Jing Xiaolu and said. Oh, okay. Jing Xiaolu didn't expect Feng Xibiao to be so straightforward, so she picked up an empty card that she had made before and told Feng Xibiao. Feng Xibiao didn't say anything after hearing it. He directly dialed the phone bank to transfer the money. It didn't take long for Jing Xiaolu's mobile phone to receive a text message notification. There was an additional 1 million in her account. What about you? After Feng Xibiao transferred the money, Yang Ming looked at the shop owner. The shop owner didn't dare to neglect. He followed Feng Xibiao's example and made a phone call to transfer the money. Soon, a sum of 500,000 was transferred into Jing Xiaolu's account. Okay, you can go. Since the money was in his hands, Yang Ming naturally didn't want to talk nonsense with them. Go, let's go. The shop owner heaved a sigh of relief. He regretted it in his heart. Why did he think of revenge for nothing? Now, not only did he not get his revenge, but he also lost 500,000 yuan. The shop owner didn't dare to stay here any longer. This person was too ferocious. Even the boxing champion, whom he thought was very powerful, wasn't a match for this person. What else could he rely on? The shop owner, Zhang Depao, and Yao Sanpao turned to leave, but Feng Xibiao stood there hesitantly. Why haven't you left yet? Yang Ming glanced at Feng Xibiao and asked. He thought, is this guy going to say a few words? Brother, can you tell me your name? Feng Xibiao asked hesitantly. Oh. Yang Ming was slightly taken aback. What? You still want to remember my name, then go back and cultivate for a few years before coming to me for revenge? No, brother, you misunderstood. Feng Xibiao shook his head again and again. I don't think so. I think that when I go out in the future, if someone says your name, I will quickly go around. Ha! Yang Ming was dumbfounded after hearing Feng Xibiao's words. Well, my name is Yang Ming. Brother Yang, I will remember it. Don't worry. As long as someone says your name in the future, I will definitely run away. Feng Xibiao said firmly and seriously. And, I got it. You can go. Yang Ming waved his hand helplessly. Brother Yang, then I will go. Feng Xibiao turned and left. Sui Yuemin, who was at the side, was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Yang Ming to be so badass. He was so badass that as long as someone says his name, Feng Xibiao would run away. Sui Yuemin felt that following Yang Ming wasn't a bad thing. At least he could do whatever he wanted in West Star Mountain in the future. Whether it was Yao Sanpao or Zhang Depao, they wouldn't dare to offend him. Brother Yang, look at this car. Should I find a repair shop to tow the car away? Sui Yuemin waited for those people to leave and asked Yang Ming while rubbing his hands. You go and do it. Fix it as soon as possible. Yang Ming nodded. He was very satisfied with Sui Yuemin's performance. Yes, I will call someone. The owner of the nearby Dahua repair factory is my buddy. I will ask him to fix it overnight for you, Brother Yang. I will try not to affect tomorrow's use, said Sui Yuemin. Don't worry too much. We have other cars with us, said Yang Ming. It's okay, it's okay. Sui Yuemin said confidently. As he was about to make a call, he suddenly saw Zhang Penbai and Zhang Penbai's subordinate, Xiao Qiangzi, lying on the ground. He quickly asked, Brother Yang, do you need me to call an ambulance first to send them to the hospital? There's no need. Yang Ming waved his hand and walked toward the two of them. He squatted down and casually patted the two of them twice. The two of them slowly woke up. Damn, you dare to hit your grandpa. Grandpa will kill you. Zhang Penbai's first sentence after waking up was to curse. Who did you kill? Yang Ming glanced at him coldly. Ah! Brother Yang. Zhang Penbai suddenly woke up and was shocked. He was a little embarrassed. Brother Yang, did I faint? Nonsense. Yang Ming said in annoyance, kill him. He is much more powerful than you. Who did you kill? This. Zhang Penbai was a little embarrassed. I was just saying, okay, this is not your fault. The other party is more powerful than you. There is no other way. You can go back. Yang Ming didn't say much and stood up. Yes, Brother Yang. Then, this matter is over. Zhang Penbai suffered a big loss and was a little depressed. He originally wanted to get back his face. Brother Yang has already solved it for you. Sui Yuemin quickly explained to Zhang Penbai, that guy named Feng Xibiao ran away after seeing Brother Yang. His speed made me feel ashamed. Ah. Brother Yang is too awesome, right? Zhang Penbai couldn't help but be shocked when he heard Sui Yuemin's words. He didn't think that Sui Yuemin would lie to him. He was just a little surprised. Isn't that so? And that Feng Xibiao said that as long as someone mentions Brother Yang's name in the future, he will definitely turn and run. Sui Yuemin said proudly as if this Brother Yang was himself. Damn, that's awesome. Zhang Penbai immediately trembled when he heard that Feng Xibiao was such a coward. It's good to follow Brother Yang. We must not be at a disadvantage. This time, that Feng Xibiao knows how powerful he is, right? Zhang Penbai also acted as if the person who was knocked out just now was not him. It was as if Yang Ming could represent him. Yang Ming listened to the conversation between the two and shook his head helplessly. However, Jing Xiaolu was the most proud. When others praised Yang Ming, it was equivalent to praising her. She felt more and more happy. Sui Yuemin and Zhang Penbai were busy contacting the repair shop to repair the car. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu went upstairs and returned to their room. They didn't care about what they were doing. Isn't it too easy to make money? In the blink of an eye, I got one. 5 million yuan. How many good things can I buy? Jing Xiaolu held the bank card and looked left and right. She couldn't get enough of it. It was as if her eyes were a card reader that could read the numbers in the bank card. Are you still short of this 1 million yuan? Yang Ming looked at Jing Xiaolu's excitement and couldn't understand. You can't be greedy to this extent, right? It feels different. Jing Xiaolu said, this one. 5 million yuan is for free. Of course, I'm happy. Didn't your company's shares come for free? Asked Yang Ming. How does that count? The shares are yours. Now, what's yours is mine. It's all our family's. How can it be for free? Jing Xiaolu said, this one. 5 million yuan is different. It was sent by those fools. I'd rather these idiots not bother me for no reason. It's been a long night. I originally wanted to come out and have some fun, but I ended up encountering so many troubles. Yang Ming said as he lay on the bed. I think it's quite exciting. Jing Xiaolu disagreed. This feeling of being pretentious is really cool. Yang Ming was speechless. Chapter 1686. It had to be said that Sui Yuemin still had a lot of connections in West Star Mountain. The next morning, the car was parked downstairs with a brand new look. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu didn't dare to imagine that this was real. They thought that the car smashing incident last night was just a dream. However, the car was indeed repaired. They didn't know how Sui Yuemin did it. Yang Ming took the car keys from Sui Yuemin's hand and nodded to him, expressing his approval of everything he did. Yang Ming and Jing Xiaolu should go back. How to arrange for Jing Xiaolu became a problem for Yang Ming, but fortunately, he didn't have to think about this problem for the time being. Everything could wait until he returned safely from Yunnan. If he couldn't come back, it was meaningless to think about these things. After returning to Songjiang, Yang Ming's days were almost peaceful again, but there was one more Jing Xiaolu in his life. The two of them were more intimate than before. The Douglas International Hotel that Qin Jie and Kaik had officially opened. There were some tricks and promotional activities every day, which was a fatal blow to the Songjiang International Hotel's business. Guo Jianchao, the general manager of the Songjiang International Hotel, had mentioned this problem to Bao Sonli more than once. He wanted to see if he could take any measures to prevent this situation from continuing to worsen. After all, the Songjiang International Hotel was now losing money every day. People came and went every day, but his hotel was deserted. Guo Jianchao was also annoyed by it. However, every time he reported the hotel situation to Bao Sonli always said that it was nothing and that he didn't need to do anything. If he didn't know that Bao Sonli was Yang Ming's hardcore supporter, Guo Jianchao would even suspect that Bao Sonli was a spy sent by the hotel. After many fruitless suggestions to Bao Sonli, Guo Jianchao had no choice but to call Yang Ming personally, intending to communicate with Yang Ming. Looking at Guo Jianchao's call on the phone, Yang Ming was a little surprised. Guo Jianchao would contact Bao Sonli and Ho Jinhan directly. Under normal circumstances, he would not call him directly. Hello. Guo Jianchao. Yang Ming picked up the phone. It's me, brother Yang. Guo Jianchao said quickly, I have something to discuss with you. Are you free? Oh, just say it. I have nothing to do now. Yang Ming wasn't sure why Guo Jianchao would call him directly to talk about this matter, but he still gladly agreed. For his subordinates, Yang Ming had always treated them with kindness and authority. He would be strict when he should be strict and kind when he should be kind. Brother Yang, in fact, this is the case. You know about the Douglas International Hotel, right? Guo Jianchao asked tentatively. Yang Ming probably guessed the purpose of Guo Jianchao's call. 80% of it was related to the hotel's management. They are doing promotions every day to target us. Our current business is basically losing money. No one cares about us. Guo Jianchao said. Business competition. There is no way. They didn't do anything out of the ordinary. What can we do to them? Yang Ming smiled. During this time, Yang Ming didn't want to participate in these disputes anymore. Otherwise, the Douglas Vast Hotel wouldn't be able to show off for more than a few days. But they are simply targeting us. Guo Jianchao said. His voice was a little indignant. Their every discount promotion strategy is targeted at us. Didn't I say it before? We can't do anything about business competition. Yang Ming said, I guess you talked to Bao Sonli about this matter first. Bao Sonli didn't say anything, so you came to me, right? Yes. Guo Jianchao admitted. It is true. I talked to President Bao, but President Bao didn't say anything. He asked me to ignore them. I don't think it can go on like this, so I called you personally. You won't blame me, right? How can I blame you? Yang Ming said with a smile, you are doing it for the good of the company. This is right. However, Bao Sonli's words are actually conveying my meaning. Don't worry about them first. Let them be. Anyway, this Songjiang International Hotel is not the main industry of our company. But we can't let them be like this, right? Shouldn't we take some action? Guo Jianchao didn't give up. If we take action, we will fall into their trap. They will still have some tricks waiting for us. As far as I know, this Douglas Vast Hotel is an international chain hotel. They have a lot of marketing talents who specialize in research in this area. We don't need to fight with a professional organization like them. Yang Ming said, let them be. It will calm down after a while. Oh, okay. Guo Jianchao couldn't help it. Since Yang Ming said so, then he could only bide his time. If there is a situation, call me at any time. Don't be too conflicted. Yang Ming smiled and comforted Guo Jianchao. I know, brother Yang. Although Guo Jianchao didn't figure it out, since it was Yang Ming's decision, he could only firmly implement it. As a result, the Songjiang International Hotel was defeated under the Douglas Vast Hotel's aggression, but they didn't take any action. This represented a different situation in the eyes of people with intentions. Songjiang's entertainment industry might change. Bao Sanli's era was over. Everyone was talking about how no matter how powerful Bao Sanli was, he only had a local relationship. The Douglas family had a deeper relationship, which was not comparable to a local rich family. As a result, more people befriended Chen Jie and Kaik. Kaik didn't expect that Bao Sanli wouldn't fight back at all. After he snatched the guests away, Bao Sanli still didn't say anything. This made Kaik feel that Bao Sanli was too weak. Boss, that kid finally got a taste of his power this time. Chen Jie proudly watched Yang Ming's industry gradually lose ground. This was his ultimate goal, and now he had basically achieved it. I know the hotel industry very well. He has no guests now, which is equivalent to losing money. He won't be able to support it for long. Kaik smiled. It won't take long for them to go bankrupt. Boss, what do you think if we buy his hotel? Chen Jie's eyes turned, and evil ideas emerged again. At this time, he is losing money every day. How about we buy his hotel at a very low price, and then expand it into our branch? This is also possible, but is it necessary? After all, our hotel is already very big. We don't need any branches. Kaik hesitated and said. Of course, it is necessary. This can establish your position as the leader of the Songjiang hotel industry. Chen Jie said, think about it. The Songjiang International Hotel was the original #1 hotel in the Songjiang hotel industry, and you are a latecomer. But if you don't swallow the previous #1, there will always be a thorn in your side. How unpleasant would that be? That's true. Kaik was also tempted when he heard Chen Jie's explanation. The Douglas family often swallowed competitors in the same industry. This could make the family's hotel more famous. Then let's talk to the people at the Songjiang International Hotel. Asked Chen Jie. It's not the best time yet. We have to wait until they are in a mess before we make a move. Only then can we have an advantage in terms of price. Said Kaik. Moreover, I want to use this annexation to build momentum for the Douglas Vast Hotel and make our hotel famous in the north. Okay. Although Chen Jie wanted to do it as soon as possible, he still had to listen to Kaik's arrangement. When almost no guests came to the Songjiang International Hotel, just when everyone thought that the Songjiang International Hotel was on the verge of collapse, the Douglas Vast Hotel issued a message in front of the media that they wanted to acquire the Songjiang International Hotel. For a time, this shocking news was everywhere in newspapers, magazines, and the internet. The Douglas Vast Hotel wanted to swallow the former industry leader, the Songjiang International Hotel. Many people who knew the background of the Songjiang International Hotel sighed at the strength of the Douglas family. The sky of the Songjiang entertainment industry might really change and be occupied by the Douglas family in one fell swoop. This news was unilaterally released by the Douglas Vast Hotel. They had not contacted the Songjiang International Hotel beforehand, nor had they reached any consensus. However, this was the effect he wanted. Chapter 1687. When the news of this acquisition came out, it directly pushed the reputation of the Douglas Vast Hotel to the top. At the same time, it further damaged the prestige and reputation of the Songjiang International Hotel in the industry. Obviously, what kind of good service could a hotel that was on the verge of bankruptcy and waiting for others to buy it provide? Presumably, the ingredients of the dishes were of the lowest grade and were about to expire, right? Anyway, they had nothing to lose. They would be acquired after a while. How would they put in the effort to do this? As for the room service, after the hotel was acquired, the departure of the waiters was still a problem. They were about to lose their jobs. Who would seriously serve you? Maybe the bed sheets were used by others, and they were not even changed. It was better not to go to this kind of hotel. Since the Douglas Vast Hotel could acquire the Songjiang International Hotel, it showed that its strength was very strong. This kind of international chain hotel was still very reliable. Therefore, the Douglas Vast Hotel was once again overcrowded, and the Songjiang International Hotel became even more deserted. Gui Jianchao saw this and was anxious in his heart, especially the ambiguous attitude of Yang Ming and Bao Sanli, which made him even more confused. Could it be that the two executives really wanted to sell the Songjiang International Hotel? When this idea came out, Gui Jianchao felt that it was more and more likely. This hotel was originally obtained from the Wang father and son, so for Yang Ming and Bao Sanli, there was not much emotional component in it. However, for Gui Jianchao, this was not the case. Since he took over this hotel, it could be said that he had invested all his passion and effort into it. The Songjiang International Hotel's previous glory was inseparable from his efforts. Therefore, Gui Jianchao couldn't bear to sell the hotel like this from the bottom of his heart. However, if the decision to sell the hotel was made by Yang Ming, then he couldn't refute it. If it was Bao Sanli's decision, it would be easier to say. After all, both of them were Yang Ming's subordinates, and it was easier to communicate with each other. He believed that Bao Sanli would also give him face. After all, the money from the sale of this hotel was really nothing for the current Ming-Yang group. Yang Ming also saw the news on the internet, but he dismissed it with a laugh. Yang Ming was not surprised by this kind of business tactic. During this time, the Douglas Vast Hotel had been targeting his Songjiang International Hotel in every possible way. Before they did anything too outrageous, Yang Ming planned to let them develop. As long as they didn't cross the line, Yang Ming wouldn't do anything to them. The phone rang. Yang Ming looked at the caller's name on the screen with some surprise. It was actually his uncle, Yang Dashin. "Hello, uncle." Yang Ming picked up the phone with some doubts. "Yang Ming, what's wrong with your international hotel? Was it deserted by the Douglas Grand Hotel?" "I went there at noon, and I heard that the Douglas Vast Hotel wants to acquire you." Yang Dashin knew that this hotel belonged to Yang Ming, so when he heard the news, he called to ask about it. "Oh, I also saw the news on the internet. Who knows what they are going to do?" Yang Ming was not surprised. "Uncle, you are very thoughtful. You even paid attention to my matters. We are all family." Yang Dashin said, "Yang Ming, is there any problem with your capital chain? Why don't you fight back?" "Thank you for your concern, uncle. There is no problem with the capital. I just don't want to bother with them. Is it normal business competition? As long as it's not too much, I don't want to care," said Yang Ming. "Since you said so, then there is no problem. I thought there was a problem with the capital on your side, so I called to ask," said Yang Dashin. "However, if there is anything you don't want to talk to your dad, just talk to me directly. I don't mind being the bad guy." "Hee, okay." Yang Ming smiled. His uncle had become more amiable now. This was a result that Yang Ming was happy to see. A few seconds after hanging up the phone rang again. Yang Ming looked at the caller ID. It was actually Gui Jianchao again. He called a few days ago, but he didn't expect to call again. "Hello. Gui Jianchao, what's the matter?" Yang Ming guessed it in his heart. Gui Jianchao's call was nothing more than the Songjiang International Hotel. "Brother Yang, I have a person named Chen Jie here. He said that he is representing the Douglas Vast Hotel to discuss the acquisition of our hotel." Gui Jianchao said carefully. Previously, although he wanted to communicate with Yang Ming again, Yang Ming's firm tone made Guo Jianchao not dare to call again. This time, the other party's people came to the door. Guo Jianchao had to call Yang Ming to report. He was most afraid that Yang Ming would agree to the acquisition. Oh. Chen Jie went to you. Yang Ming was stunned after listening to Guo Jianchao's words. He originally thought that the so-called acquisition news released by the Douglas Vast Hotel was just a commercial means of publicity. They wouldn't really come to acquire the Songjiang International Hotel, but he didn't expect them to be serious. Isn't this a bit too much? You said that you want to acquire it, and you came to the door to acquire it. Isn't this too arbitrary? Yang Ming felt like he was being led by the nose. He couldn't help but frown. He didn't think about what to do with the other party, but the other party turned around and climbed on top of his head to be arrogant. Yes, he is waiting in the conference room now. I don't know how to answer him, so I called to ask you first. Brother Yang, are we really going to sell the hotel? Guo Jianchao asked hesitantly. Sell? Sell what? Who said that the hotel is going to be sold? Yang Ming sneered after hearing it. This hotel was part of the property that he gave to Jing Xiaolu. How could he sell it just like that? Especially now that he had such a relationship with Jing Xiaolu, the hotel couldn't be sold. Moreover, the most memorable part of this hotel was that it was the place where he had first intimate contact with Lin Jiyun. How could he sell it? Ah. So, we're not selling it. Guo Jianchao was surprised and happy when he heard Yang Ming's tone. He was relieved in his heart. It seemed that Yang Ming didn't advocate selling the hotel. Of course, we're not selling it. You tell that Chen Jie to get lost, as far as he can. Don't be so shameless. Otherwise, he will get it, Yang Ming said faintly. Ha! Guo Jianchao listened to Yang Ming's merciless words and immediately laughed. Okay, Brother Yang. I'll tell him now. And, if there is any other news, contact me at any time. Yang Ming hung up the phone and thought, this Chen Jie doesn't seem to give up. He always wants to cause more trouble. I didn't want to pay attention to him, but he is so restless. It seems that I need to knock some sense into them. And that foreigner Kaik, is he looking for death? With Yang Ming's affirmative reply, Guo Jianchao was not worried. He felt that Yang Ming must have a strategy and a solution. The current lack of business in the hotel was only temporary. Yang Ming must have a solution. Thinking of this, Guo Jianchao walked arrogantly to the conference room where Chen Jie was waiting. Chen Jie came today to humiliate Yang Ming. He didn't know if Yang Ming was there. Even if he wasn't, his intentions would be conveyed to Yang Ming through others. Chen Jie was very clear about the business situation of the Songjiang International Hotel. It could be said that it was extremely bleak. Now that he was here to buy it, even if Yang Ming didn't want to sell it, it was impossible. There were only two paths in front of Yang Ming. He could either sell the hotel or go bankrupt. Of course, this was what Chen Jie thought. Seeing Guo Jianchao push the door and come in, Chen Jie straightened his back and crossed his legs arrogantly. In his opinion, the only way out of the Songjiang International Hotel was to be acquired. Otherwise, there was no way out. How is it? Have you found your big boss? Chen Jie asked arrogantly as he looked up at Guo Jianchao, who had just entered. Oh, I found him, Guo Jianchao glanced at Chen Jie funnily and said faintly. Where is he? Is he here? Why hasn't he appeared yet? Don't be confused. I'm here to buy it and save you. Otherwise, you can just wait for bankruptcy. Chen Jie glanced at Guo Jianchao and found that he still came in alone. There was no sign of Yang Ming, so he was a little unhappy. Chapter 1688. This time, It was supposed to be Kaik's men who came here, but Chinjie wanted to show off in front of Yang Ming, so he personally took on the task of coming to negotiate. He had prepared some sarcastic remarks about Yang Ming, but he didn't see Yang Ming. This made Chinjie feel like he had punched cotton and couldn't find a point to exert force on. It was very unpleasant. What is the boss doing here? Who do you think you are? Gu Jianchao sneered. Our boss asked me to pass on a message to you. What message? Chinjie didn't expect Gu Jianchao's words to be so sharp and arrogant. He suddenly felt that something was wrong. Our boss asked me to tell you to get lost. Get as far away as you can. Don't be so shameless. Otherwise, you will get it. Gu Jianchao repeated what Yang Ming said. Did you hear it clearly? Chinjie's face suddenly turned green. He didn't expect Yang Ming to be like this. The hotel is about to go bankrupt, and he still dares to talk to me like this. Does he really think that he still has something to rely on? Or does he really think that I can't force him to go bankrupt? Did Yang Ming say this? Chinjie stood up suddenly and glared at Gu Jianchao. How can you call Brother Yang's name? Gu Jianchao was immediately unhappy. He grabbed Chinjie's collar and pushed him out. I asked you to get lost. Didn't you hear me? Get lost. You are not welcome here. How could Chinjie be Gu Jianchao's opponent? Gu Jianchao was only in his 20s. He was young and strong. He pushed Chinjie so hard that he almost fell to the ground. You. Chinjie said the word, you, 3 times. It was conceivable how angry he was now. He was almost dragged out by Gu Jianchao. Standing at the door of the conference room, Chinjie pointed at Gu Jianchao and said fiercely, good, very good. I will remember it. You just wait for me. I will show you. All right, I'll wait. Gu Jianchao said faintly. He didn't put Chinjie in his eyes at all. Since he already had Yang Ming's guarantee, Gu Jianchao naturally didn't need to care about Chinjie. Anyway, the hotel wouldn't be sold. So what if he offended Chinjie? Although he didn't know what Yang Ming was planning to do, at least he wouldn't sell the hotel. As for the management of the hotel, he would slowly think of a way in the future. Gu Jianchao and Yang Ming's words and actions completely enraged Chinjie. After Chinjie returned, he began to describe to Kaik how hateful the people of the Songjiang International Hotel were. He described how they slandered the Douglas Vast Hotel and Kaik, and swore that he would not let them go. Naturally, Kaik did not fully believe Chinjie's words, but he did want to acquire the Songjiang International Hotel at the moment. The news had already been released. Kaik would not be able to explain it to his family if the matter was left unsettled. He had just become the family master, and he had already made a mess in Songjiang. If he couldn't even settle a small local hotel, how could he still have the face to be the family master in the family? So this time, no matter what, Kaik was determined to win. Since the other party's attitude was tough, then he would increase his efforts. Because of the incident in the conference room last time, the Douglas Vast Hotel and the Songjiang International Hotel had completely fallen out. The two sides had already shed all pretense of cordiality. Chinjie even began to send people to the Songjiang International Hotel's parking lot to distribute flyers to bring the guests who went to the Songjiang International Hotel to the Douglas Vast Hotel. The Douglas Vast Hotel had also launched a series of preferential promotional activities, and TV advertisements bombarded them one after another. This time, Chinjie wanted to completely eliminate them. He didn't want any customers to go to the Songjiang International Hotel. He wanted to let Yang Ming taste the consequences of despising him. If they didn't agree to be acquired, they would have to fend for themselves. When the Songjiang International Hotel had no business at all, Chinjie went to the door again and found Gu Jianchao. Gui Jianchao didn't expect the Douglas Vast Hotel to be so ruthless. They even used such a wretched trick, which was despicable. However, Yang Ming didn't say a clear counterattack and method. Gui Jianchao naturally couldn't act rashly. Chen Jiye's second visit was actually within Gui Jianchao's expectations. Gui Jianchao didn't go to see him first, but called Yang Ming again. Although he wanted to throw Chen Jiye out again, Gui Jianchao wouldn't make a decision without consulting Yang Ming. "Brother Yang, this is Gui Jianchao." Gui Jianchao dialed Yang Ming's phone again. "Chen Jiye is here again. He still wants to talk about the acquisition." Humph, I didn't expect them to really not give up." Yang Ming heard Gui Jianchao's words and said with some contempt, "They really don't know what's good for them." During this time, Yang Ming also knew a thing or two about the Douglas Vast Hotel's actions. Yang Ming despised the wretched and despicable tricks they used, but he didn't expect Chen Jiye to still not give up. He actually still wanted to acquire the Douglas Vast Hotel. Yang Ming naturally knew that Chen Jiye's actions were targeting him again and again. To put it bluntly, it was to take revenge for not giving him face that day. He wanted to use this opportunity to attack him. But it had to be said that Chen Jiye's idea was too simple. It was simply courting death. "Brother Yang, should I drive him away?" asked Gui Jianchao. "No need. Promise them that we will arrange a time to talk about the acquisition." Yang Ming couldn't bear it anymore. Chen Jiye and Kaik's actions had touched Yang Ming's bottom line. He didn't care about them before, but they were getting more and more excessive. They actually opened a dye house after giving him some face. In this case, Yang Ming would naturally do as they wished. "Don't you want to acquire? Well, let's do the acquisition." However, it was not certain who would acquire who. Gui Jianchao didn't expect that Yang Ming would actually agree to Chen Jiye's request this time. This made Gui Jianchao a little surprised. Why did Yang Ming change his mind? "Do as I say." Yang Ming didn't explain much. Gui Jianchao would naturally know the situation when the time came. But, okay. Gui Jianchao had no choice. In any case, he couldn't go against Yang Ming's decision. No matter how reluctant he was in his heart, since Yang Ming had already decided, what was the use of him saying it? After hanging up the phone, Gui Jianchao walked to the conference room where Chen Jiye was. Although Chen Jiye had a lot more confidence this time compared to the last time, he was still a little scared because of the previous incident. He was afraid that Yang Ming would go crazy again and instruct Gui Jianchao to scold him and then throw him out. Previously, he had used all the means he could to make the Songjiang International Hotel have no guests. Unlike the last time, there were still a few people who came. This time, if the Songjiang International Hotel didn't go bankrupt, there would be a ghost. But who could guarantee that Yang Ming and Gui Jianchao wouldn't go crazy? So Chen Jiye didn't cross his legs this time. Instead, he sat in the conference room very seriously and waited for Gui Jianchao. "President Gua." Chen Jiye didn't look up to the sky like last time. Instead, he stood up and greeted Gui Jianchao politely. "Oh, it's President Chen." Gui Jianchao received Yang Ming's order this time to arrange a time with Chen Jiye to talk about the acquisition, so his attitude became very good. "How is it? What did President Yang decide?" Chen Jiye was slightly stunned by Gui Jianchao's calm attitude, but then he understood in his heart. Yang Ming must be compromising. Otherwise, he wouldn't have this attitude. However, he still asked with some uncertainty. Before he got a definite answer from Gui Jianchao, Chen Jiye still didn't dare to be arrogant. What if he was thrown out again? "Brother Yang said that he wants you to finalize a date to talk about the acquisition." Gui Jianchao didn't have a good impression of Chen Jiye, so he coldly conveyed Yang Ming's instructions. "Oh." After Chen Jiye was stunned, he couldn't help but laugh. ha 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 ha. Aren't you arrogant? Chapter 1689. Didn't you not want to talk about the merger? Didn't you tell me to get lost? Chen Jie could finally hold his head high after listening to Guo Jianchao's words. He changed his previous cautiousness and suddenly became domineering. What's wrong? You can't stand it now. You finally agreed. I said it earlier. Sooner or later, you will beg us to talk about the acquisition. Mr. Chen, I'm just repeating Brother Yang's words. If you have this attitude, please leave. Guo Jianchao glanced at the clown-like Chen Jie indifferently. He snorted at Chen Jie's female behavior that changed faster than flipping a book. Attitude? What's wrong with my attitude? That's my attitude. Chen Jie got a positive answer from Yang Ming at this moment, so he didn't care what Guo Jianchao said. After all, Guo Jianchao couldn't make the decision. He couldn't go against Yang Ming's wishes. So no matter how much he mocked, Guo Jianchao could only accept it. He couldn't change his mind. Mr. Chen, the merger is a bilateral cooperation, not a unilateral one. If you insist on this attitude, I think we can't talk about it even if Brother Yang comes in person. Guo Jianchao couldn't stand Chen Jie's attitude and warned him faintly. What a joke. Can you represent Yang Ming's decision? Your boss has agreed to the merger. Who do you think you are? Chen Jie sneered and stood up. Tomorrow morning, in the Douglas Vast Hotel's conference room, 9 o'clock. I'll be waiting for you on time. I won't wait for you if you're late. After speaking, Chen Jie got up and left the conference room, leaving Guo Jianchao with his back. Guo Jianchao was furious with Chen Jie. He thought, did I desperately advise Yang Ming not to sell the hotel? Chen Jie is too much of a bully. Thinking of my time with Yang Ming, I guess Yang Ming should give me some face, right? Guo Jianchao decided to give it a try. He wouldn't regret it anyway, so he dialed Yang Ming's phone number. Brother Yang, Chen Jie left, Guo Jianchao said. Oh. What did he say? Yang Ming asked. Chen Jie has gone too far. He just said some very unpleasant words. Thinking of Chen Jie's face before, Guo Jianchao was annoyed. Brother Yang, I dare to say something. Can we not sell our hotel? Sell? Who said anything about selling? When Yang Ming heard Guo Jianchao's excitement, he was somewhat amused and moved. He couldn't help but ask. Brother Yang, didn't you say that you agreed to discuss the merger with the Douglas Vast Hotel? Guo Jianchao was taken aback. Did Yang Ming change his mind? That was a good thing. Yeah, it's not wrong to discuss the merger, but I didn't say I was selling the hotel. Yang Ming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Obviously, Guo Jianchao had misunderstood his meaning. But aren't mergers and acquisitions and selling hotels the same thing? Guo Jianchao asked doubtfully. Of course, they're not the same thing. Yang Ming explained with a smile, it's not certain who will acquire who. Why is it our turn to sell to him? Guo Jianchao was stunned, and then said with some surprise, Brother Yang, you mean, we want to acquire them? Although Guo Jianchao couldn't believe his ears, Yang Ming's words should be right. Guo Jianchao asked tentatively. I always meant this, Yang Ming said, this hotel is very meaningful to me. How can I sell it? Guo Jianchao finally laughed after listening to Yang Ming's words. His gloomy mood for the past few days was gone. I told you, Brother Yang, you can't sell it. Sure enough, this is great. Don't disclose this news, Yang Ming instructed with a smile. I understand, Brother Yang. Don't worry, I won't say it. I'll give them a surprise tomorrow. Guo Jianchao said excitedly. Tomorrow. They set the date for the merger and acquisition negotiation to be tomorrow, asked Yang Ming. Right, I almost forgot to say. I called this time mainly to talk about this. Guo Jianchao said quickly. Chen Jiye said that tomorrow at 9:00 in the morning, in the conference room of the Douglas Vast Hotel, we will discuss the merger and acquisition on time. We won't wait until then. Then we'll go at 10:00. Let them wait, Yang Ming smiled and said indifferently. That's what I thought before. Brother Yang, it's good that you said so. We'll wait for them to die. Guo Jianchao said straightforwardly. I'll find you at the International Hotel tomorrow. Let's go together, said Yang Ming. Okay, Brother Yang, see you tomorrow. Guo Jianchao hung up the phone happily. Yang Ming hung up the phone. It was a little funny. It seems that Guo Jianchao's feelings for the Songjiang International Hotel far exceed his own. He is even more unwilling to sell the hotel. Chen Jiye originally came with the intention of testing the waters. When he went back, he was full of vigor. Yang Ming agreed to discuss the merger and acquisition. Obviously, he couldn't hold it anymore. Chen Jiye walked proudly. How should I humiliate Yang Ming tomorrow? Anyway, I can't let him go so easily. Absolutely not. Chen Jiye thought, I must press for a very low price tomorrow. Then, when Yang Ming begs me for a high price, I can take the opportunity to propose a condition for him to break up with Qin Mengyan. If he doesn't agree, I won't buy it and let him wait for his death. I believe that if I don't buy the Songjiang International Hotel, other forces and enterprises won't buy it. After all, no one is willing to get involved in this muddy water and go against the Douglas Vast Hotel. Whoever buys this hotel will inevitably end up like the Songjiang International Hotel now. They will be forced into a corner. Therefore, Chen Jiye believed that no one would buy the Songjiang International Hotel except for himself and Kaik. Yang Ming could only act according to his mood. Thinking of this, Chen Jiye became more and more happy. He directly called Qin Xiaolong. Dad. What's the matter? Qin Xiaolong was currently having a threesome with two ladies in a high-end suite at the Douglas International Hotel, so his voice sounded a little impatient. Xiaolong, are you busy? Then wait until I go back. Chen Jiye also heard Qin Xiaolong's impatience, so he said. Oh, that's fine. What's the matter? Asked Qin Xiaolong casually. It's about the acquisition of Yang Ming's hotel, said Chen Jiye. Wait until I go back. You should be busy first. Wait, Dad, I'm not busy. Qin Xiaolong pushed away a lady under him, then stood up excitedly and walked to the window. Dad, you can say it now. I'm listening. That's fine. I'll tell you now. Chen Jiye also knew that Qin Xiaolong was more concerned about this than him, so he said, just now, I went to the Songjiang International Hotel again to talk about the merger. Oh, what did Yang Ming say? Asked Qin Xiaolong anxiously. Yang Ming finally couldn't stand it anymore. He agreed to discuss the merger with us tomorrow. Chen Jiye laughed. Tomorrow, you can see his pitiful appearance, ha. Really? That's great. Qin Xiaolong laughed wildly when he heard his father's words, ha. Yang Ming also has such a day. It's great. I'm going tomorrow too. Let me see his pitiful appearance. Of course, but don't show up. Just hide by the side, said Chen Jiye. After all, it's a formal business negotiation. Your uncle Kaik will also be there. It will be inconvenient for you to be there. Okay, then I'll hide by the side and watch. Qin Xiaolong didn't care where he watched. He was happy as long as he saw Yang Ming suffer, right, Dad? Qin Mingyan's matter. Don't worry, son. Chen Jiye said with a smile, how can your dad forget this? I have already planned it for you. When we discuss the merger tomorrow, I will try to lower the price as much as possible. If Yang Ming wants to raise the price, then he can only give up on Chen Mengyan. Otherwise, he can only wait to be poor. Dad, your move is simply too brilliant. I'm not afraid that Yang Ming won't give in at that time. Chen Xiaolong exclaimed happily, this time, Yang Ming is dead. Chen Mengyan is going to be my woman. Ha 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 ha. Humph. Yang Ming, that kid, dares to steal my son's woman. This time, I'll let him know how powerful I, Chen Jie, am. Said Chen Jie fiercely. However, he had been with Yang Ming for a long time, so he would not speak casually. He was not as shocked as Gu Jianchao. Chen Jie got up early in the morning and began to prepare for the merger negotiations with Kaik. Kaik also knew that Chen Jie was using the merger negotiations to attack Yang Ming, so he simply let Chen Jie participate and be the leader. His ultimate goal was to acquire the Songjiang International Hotel. As for the process, Kaik actually did not care. At 8:45, everything was ready. Chen Jie and Kaik came to the conference room and waited for the people from the Songjiang International Hotel to come. Originally, when one wanted to acquire someone, they would usually go to the door to negotiate to show their sincerity. Who would wait in the company for the other party's people to come? This was a bit too high profile. However, Chen Jie wanted to show this kind of high profile and waited at the Douglas Vast Hotel for the acquisition target to come. He wanted to be high and mighty to set off his ridicule of Yang Ming. Chen Jie's son, Chen Xiaolong, had already disguised himself as a waiter early and hid in the corner to serve tea for the negotiation later. Kaik sat in the main seat, and Chen Jie sat next to him. Chen Jie looked at his watch. It was 8:55. There were still 5 minutes before Yang Ming came. Chen Jie cleared his throat and made a very badass pose. He crossed his legs and waited for Yang Ming to come to his door like a master. Did this Yang Ming come at the right time? Didn't he know to come earlier? Chen Jie frowned and cursed in his heart. Time passed minute by minute. 5 minutes passed in a blink of an eye, but no one came in the conference room. No one downstairs informed him that Yang Ming had arrived. What's going on? Didn't we say 9 o'clock? Why isn't anyone here? Kaik looked at the time and asked Chen Jie. We did say 9 o'clock yesterday. Did the other party change their mind? Thinking of this, Chen Jie's head suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Am I being played by that kid Yang Ming? That kid deliberately fooled me, but didn't actually plan to come. But it shouldn't be. Judging from the current business situation of the Songjiang International Hotel, if it was not acquired, it could only wait for bankruptcy because the hotel industry's daily expenses were shockingly high. If it didn't make money, it would lose money. How could Yang Ming withstand it? Is he really going to lose money just to save some face? You call and ask where the other party is, Kaik instructed Chen Jie. He naturally knew about the grievances between Chen Jie and Yang Ming. Okay. Although Chen Jie didn't want to take the initiative to contact Yang Ming, he still couldn't disobey Kaik's instructions. Chen Jie took out his mobile phone and dialed Gu Jianchao's number. Brother Yang, Chen Jie is calling. Gu Jianchao's mobile phone rang. He took it out and glanced at it, then said to Yang Ming. Oh, pick it up. Tell him that we are on the way. There's a traffic jam, Yang Ming said faintly. Okay. Gu Jianchao picked up the phone and said, Is this President Qin? It's me, President Gua. Where are you? Why haven't you come yet? Didn't we agree to discuss the merger and acquisition in the Douglas Vast Hotel's conference room at 9 o'clock this morning? Chen Jie asked with a frown. It's like this, President Chin. We came out a long time ago, but there was a traffic jam on the road. You also know that it's commuting time now, Guo Jianchao said in his heart. You set the 9 o'clock, not Brother Yang. Do you think it's 9 o'clock just because you said 9 o'clock? Brother Yang said 10 o'clock. Just wait and see. Ah. Traffic jam. Chen Jiye was stunned and scolded in his heart. The Songjiang International Hotel and the Douglas Vast Hotel are only separated by a street. The two hotels can look at each other from a distance. How can there be a traffic jam? Chen Jiye walked to the window and looked downstairs. He saw a few cars driving in an orderly manner on the spacious and bright avenue. There was no traffic jam at all. Yes, it's been more than half an hour. The car in front hasn't moved yet. Guo Jianchao held back his laughter and said seriously. Well, then you should hurry up. Chen Jiye heard Guo Jianchao speak very seriously. He thought, could it be that they didn't depart from the Songjiang International Hotel, but from somewhere else? Thinking that Yang Ming usually didn't stay at the Songjiang International Hotel but lived elsewhere, Chen Jiye felt that his guess was somewhat possible. It was very likely that Guo Jianchao went to pick up Yang Ming earlier, and then the two of them rushed to the Douglas Vast Hotel together. Yang Ming was the one who could make the decision. It was useless for Guo Jianchao to come by himself. Thinking of this, Chen Jiye's heart felt better. He hung up the phone and said to Kaik, "Boss, they encountered a traffic jam on the road, so, there's a traffic jam. Then let's wait a little longer." Kaik didn't think much and nodded. So, Chen Jiye and Kaik sat in the conference room and waited. Originally, Chen Jiye had prepared some awesome expressions and actions, but they turned into nothing in this long wait. After waiting for more than half an hour, Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao still hadn't arrived. Chapter 1691. Chen Jiye was no longer in the mood to put on a pretentious expression and actions. He had already put down his legs, stood up, and walked around the conference room. He walked to the window of the conference room and began to check the situation at the Songjiang International Hotel out of boredom through a pair of binoculars. This binoculars was bought previously to observe the guest flow of the Songjiang International Hotel. Chen Jiye would stand here and watch the flow of people at the Songjiang International Hotel when he had nothing to do. From the beginning, the hotel was as busy as a market, to now, it was completely deserted. This change made Chen Jiye's satisfaction reach its peak. This was all done under his own efforts. One strike plan after another had turned the Songjiang International Hotel into its current state. Every time he picked up the binoculars and saw that the number of guests at the hotel opposite was decreasing day by day, Chen Jiye had an indescribable sense of satisfaction. But today, he saw a scene that made him extremely angry. When Chen Jiye picked up the binoculars and looked at the entrance of the Songjiang International Hotel, two people just walked out of the main entrance of the Songjiang International Hotel. Chen Jiye found them very familiar at first glance. After taking a closer look, it was actually Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao. The two people were slowly walking out of the door, talking and laughing. They came to the parking lot together and got into an Audi A6 in the parking lot. The car slowly started and drove in the direction of the Douglas Vast Hotel. Chen Jiye was angry in his heart. Wasn't there a traffic jam on the road? Why did they come out of the Songjiang International Hotel? And they didn't seem to be in a hurry. Did they look like they were in a traffic jam? This is obviously a fucking lie. Do they think I don't know how to count? If I hadn't come over to take a look at the binoculars, would still be in the dark. It seems that Yang Ming was still very resentful before he was acquired. He wanted to deliberately mess with me. The reason why Chen Jie still thought that Yang Ming would sell the hotel to him was that the current business situation of the Songjiang International Hotel was really bad. If he didn't sell it now, he would go bankrupt. Secondly, although Yang Ming dilly-dallied and lied to him that there was a traffic jam, he still drove to him in the end. It could be seen that Yang Ming still wanted to sell the hotel, but he was just a little unwilling. Thinking that he had grasped Yang Ming's thoughts, Chen Jie snorted coldly. "Aren't you playing with me? All right then, just wait and see how I'll kill you in terms of price. If you had groveled a little, said some nice words and smiled at me, I might have given you a more reasonable price. But now, humph humph." Chen Jie put down the binoculars angrily. Knowing that Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao had arrived, Chen Jie didn't need to look at the binoculars anymore. He turned and walked back to his seat. He crossed his legs again and made an impatient and aloof posture. Soon, the waiter on the first floor called. Mr. Yang Ming and Mr. Guo Jianchao of the Songjiang International Hotel had arrived. "Bring them up," Chen Jie ordered arrogantly. After about 3 to 5 minutes, the waiter on the first floor led Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao to the conference room. "Please come in. Mr. Kaik and Mr. Chen have been waiting inside for a long time." The waiter made an inviting gesture. After inviting Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao into the conference room, he left. Regardless of Chen Jie's attitude towards Yang Ming, as a hotel waiter, he naturally wouldn't do anything to Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao. He had always been very polite. "Mr. Chen, Mr. Kaik, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." Yang Ming entered the conference room, glanced at the arrogant Chen Jie, then looked at the white Kaik in the seat and said faintly, "Yang Ming, how long have you been stuck in this traffic jam?" "You're stuck in the parking lot of the Songjiang International Hotel." Chen Jie snorted coldly. He didn't give Yang Ming any face and directly expressed the displeasure in his heart. Yang Ming called him Mr. Chen, but he called Yang Ming by his name. It could be seen how much he didn't put Yang Ming in his eyes. But it was no wonder. Chen Jie now felt that Yang Ming was already a stray dog. He could only rely on selling the hotel to survive. What else was there to be afraid of? "Oh." Yang Ming frowned and heard Chen Jie's secret words. "It seems that Chen Jie seems to know that I'm not stuck in traffic but lied to him." But how did Chen Jie know? Yang Ming's gaze swept around the conference room casually, and finally stopped at the telescope next to the windowsill. Obviously, Chen Jie had been observing the movements at the Songjiang International Hotel through this telescope. Chen Jie probably saw the process of him and Guo Jianchao coming out of the hotel and getting in the car. However, Yang Ming didn't have an embarrassed expression at all. Instead, he said sarcastically, "It seems that someone has a hobby of peeping." Since Chen Jie had shed all pretense of cordiality as soon as he came, Yang Ming didn't need to respect him anymore. It turned out that Yang Ming thought that since he represented the Songjiang International Hotel, he would pay attention to his image and didn't directly say anything inappropriate. However, Chen Jie was obviously not worthy of others' respect. He was destined to be ridiculed. "You." Chen Jie was a little embarrassed when Yang Ming read his mind. His expression changed and he said coldly, "Yang Ming, don't be confused about the situation. Now you are begging us to buy your hotel." "Oh. Is that so?" Yang Ming smiled. "It seems that my memory has some problems. I remember that you seem to have come to me several times to talk about mergers and acquisitions, right? It seems that you took the initiative, right?" "Humph." Chen Jie snorted coldly and defended, "I am doing it out of humanitarianism. Seeing that you are about to go bankrupt, I went to help you. Don't fail to appreciate my kindness. So, I have to thank you, right?" Yang Ming listened to Chen Jie's words and looked at Chen Jie with some amusement. "You want to buy my hotel, and I have to say thank you to you. Is that so?" Of course. Chen Jiye said shamelessly. Oh, between you and me, unless there is a fool. Yang Ming shrugged and said, but it's obviously not me. You motherfucker, don't you have a good eye for people? Don't you know that you are asking us now? Chen Jiye didn't expect that Yang Ming would dare to say these words to him here. Isn't he afraid that I won't buy his hotel in anger? Ask you? Ask you for what? Ask you to buy my hotel. Yang Ming seemed to have heard a very funny thing, so, if I buy your hotel, you have to thank me, right? Buy us? What a joke. Chen Jiye listened to Yang Ming's unreasonable words and suddenly laughed. Do you have the money to buy us? You actually dare to boast so shamelessly. Well, Chen, don't argue with him. We are here to talk about business. If you have personal grievances, you can solve it during the negotiation later. Kaik waved his hand impatiently. You can't solve the problem now. Chen Jiye listened to Kaik's words and thought, yes, I am here to buy Yang Ming's hotel, and force him to agree to the conditions of breaking up with Chen Mengyan. What is the use of saying these meaningless words to him? Really, I am so angry that I have lost my mind. There is no practical benefit in arguing with him. No matter how good he is at talking, he can't do anything if the acquisition price doesn't go up. Thinking of this, Chen Jiye suddenly became spirited. He cleared his throat and said, Yang Ming, I am too lazy to talk nonsense with you now, but if you want a good price, you better be honest. Oh. Really? Yang Ming smiled casually. A good price. I hope I will give you a good price in a while. I am just afraid that you won't dare to accept it. You will know in a while whether it is true or not. Chen Jiye frowned, then pointed to the seat opposite him and said, You two sit down. Chen Jiye's posture was like a big boss ordering his employees. The kind of superior charm was shown incisively and vividly. Yes, he now regarded Yang Ming as his own subordinate. Yang Ming was too lazy to say anything to Chen Jiye. He sat directly opposite Kaik, while Guo Jianchao sat next to Yang Ming and opposite Chen Jiye. Yang Ming didn't care about anything with Chen Jiye. He would cry in a while. Chapter 1692. Mr. Chen, can we start now? If you are here to talk nonsense with our brother Yang, then our negotiation is over, Guo Jianchao said under Yang Ming's signal. At this moment, Chen Jiye had the same thoughts as Yang Ming in his heart. He thought, go ahead and show off now. You will cry later. Well, then let's get to the point. Chen Jiye was actually too lazy to talk about the judgment with Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao. In his opinion, Yang Ming's Songjiang International Hotel would be acquired by the Douglas Vast Hotel. There was no suspense. It was just a matter of the price. Otherwise, Yang Ming and Guo Jianchao wouldn't be sitting here. So Chen Jiye didn't talk much nonsense. Instead, he took out a document from the document bag at hand and pushed it directly to Guo Jianchao and Yang Ming. This is the asset evaluation of the Songjiang International Hotel. Take a look. Guo Jianchao already knew Yang Ming's true thoughts. He knew that they were not here to sell the hotel, but to acquire the other party's hotel. Although he didn't know if this plan would work in the end, at least his hotel couldn't be sold. So Guo Jianchao wasn't very interested in the asset evaluation report. He just took it, flipped through it casually, and handed it to Yang Ming. But after flipping through it casually, Guo Jianchao secretly curled his lips. The asset evaluation of the Songjiang International Hotel is only worth 20 million. What kind of international joke is this? This piece of land alone is currently worth more than 20 million. Even with the hotel facilities, the price is only 20 million. Isn't this the same as bullying? But everything was decided by Yang Ming. Moreover, he didn't really want to sell the hotel, so Guo Jianchao was too lazy to be angry about this report. Yang Ming took the asset report and flipped through it casually. When he saw the figure of 20 million, he just smiled faintly and didn't take it seriously. According to your evaluation, the Songjiang International Hotel is only worth 20 million? Hee, you finally got to the point, right? Chen Jie thought, I knew you would ask. This price of 20 million is to make things difficult for you. Yang Ming. Mr. Yang Ming. Although Chen Jie didn't want to call Yang Ming Mr. Yang Ming, for the sake of politeness in the negotiation, he had to call him that. This price of 20 million is the result of our many evaluations and arguments. Is that so? Yang Ming smiled faintly. Yes. Chen Jie spread his hands. You know the current Songjiang International Hotel. So be this, hee. Of course, if you want to think so, then it's up to you. Chen Jie didn't know what Yang Ming meant. He thought that Yang Ming was deliberately belittling him, but it didn't matter. No matter how Yang Ming belittled him, he couldn't change the price of 20 million, unless… Humph. Oh, I understand. Like I said before, there is no room for discussion on the price. Yang Ming nodded and asked. Of course. However, Mr. Yang Ming, you are also a smart person. I have an additional condition. If you agree, then I can give you a little more on the price. Chen Jie was too lazy to waste time with Yang Ming. He directly stated his purpose as if he was bargaining in the market. He felt that it was useless to talk nonsense with Yang Ming now. He could only throw out his final condition to tempt Yang Ming to make the final judgment. What condition? Yang Ming was calm on the surface, but he sneered in his heart. He finally couldn't help but reveal his foxtail. This Chen Jie really has other purposes. Leave Chen Mengyan and break up with Chen Mengyan. I will give you another 50% on the price, 30 million. Chen Jie said faintly, how about it? As long as you nod, there will be an extra 30 million in your account immediately. Oh. It's that simple? Asked Yang Ming. It's that simple. Chen Jie thought that Yang Ming was going to agree. As long as you sign an additional agreement with me, this 10 million is yours. Think about it. A woman can be exchanged for 10 million. With this 10 million, how many more women can you find? Chen Jie, did you do all this for your son, Chen Xiaolong? Yang Ming understood Chen Jie's purpose. He didn't have time to play the acquisition negotiation game with him. You are quite thoughtful, aren't you? Hee, Yang Ming, the moment you left my room, I said that you would regret it sooner or later. Chen Jie didn't hide it and laughed. You are still too inexperienced to fight with me. Really? Yang Ming smiled and didn't refute. I seem to have said it at the time. I hope you don't do anything stupid on impulse. When that time comes, I won't let you go easily. Everyone knows how to talk. Let's see who has the last laugh. Let's see who is begging who. Chen Jie thought that Yang Ming was just taking advantage of him verbally. Now, you have to figure out the situation. Who is buying who? I know the situation very well. I don't need you to remind me, said Yang Ming. Okay, have you thought about it? Do you want 20 million or 30 million? Asked Chen Jie. What if I don't want it? Yang Ming closed the asset evaluation book in front of him and threw it aside. Yang Ming, what do you mean? You don't want to talk about the merger. Didn't you come here to talk about the merger? Chen Jie didn't expect Yang Ming to be so stubborn. He actually said that he didn't want to talk about it. Who said that? Did I say that I don't want to talk about it? Yang Ming waved his hand. I came here to talk about the merger. Then you. Chen Jie was stunned. He didn't understand what Yang Ming meant. Yang Ming ignored him this time. He turned to look at Kaik, who had been silent. Kaik, just one word. 20 million. I want the Douglas Vast Hotel. Kaik had been listening to the conversation between Chen Jie and Yang Ming. He didn't intend to participate at all. He had already said that he would delegate the right to negotiate to Chen Jie and let him take full responsibility. He just listened from the side. He didn't expect Yang Ming to suddenly ask him such a question. What? Chen Jie was also stunned. He didn't expect Yang Ming to suddenly change the topic and say such a sentence. Yang Ming, what do you mean? Is there something wrong with you? We are talking about the merger and acquisition of your hotel. Yeah, I have said it before. I did come here to discuss the merger and acquisition. However, it's not you who wants to acquire my hotel, but I want to acquire your hotel. Yang Ming shrugged. Sorry, I may not have made it clear to you before, or you were too self-righteous and misunderstood. You? What do you mean? Chen Jie was a little confused by Yang Ming's words. I don't mean anything. I have made my meaning very clear. Yang Ming pointed to the asset evaluation report on the table and said, this report is a waste of your efforts, but it's not a waste. At least it can be used as a reference. Otherwise, I wouldn't have offered the price of 20 million. Yang Ming, is there something wrong with your head? You want to buy the Douglas Vast Hotel? Chen Jie was stunned for a moment, then he laughed as if he had heard a big joke. Do you know what you are talking about? Let's not talk about whether you have 20 million. Even if you do, will the Douglas Vast Hotel be sold to you at such a low price? Are you stupid? The price of this land alone is more than 20 million. No. Yang Ming waved his hand. Chen Jie, you are mistaken. The 20 million I am talking about is to buy all the Douglas Vast hotels in China, not just the one in Songjiang. Chapter 1693. Silence. The whole place was silent. Chen Jie opened his mouth wide in astonishment, but it was as if he had heard a fool's dream. From astonishment, his eyes were full of smiles, and the corner of his mouth was pulled into an unparalleled arc. Ha! Caw! Chen Jie's mouth almost became crooked from laughing. Kaik looked at Yang Ming with a puzzled and incredulous expression. What qualifications does this guy have to say such big words? Acquire all the Douglas Vast hotels in China. He is not afraid of biting his tongue. This tone is too outrageous. Isn't he afraid of dying from overeating? 20 million, even 200 million is only the tip of the iceberg of the total value of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China. 2 billion, it could barely be said to be the cost. Of course, that was the cost of construction a few years or even decades ago. It could not be compared with the current market value. A conservative estimate was that the market value of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China had exceeded 10 billion yuan. Yang Ming's words made even Guo Jianchao, who had already known the truth, feel extremely astonished. Although Yang Ming said that it was not certain who would acquire who, according to Guo Jianchao's understanding, Yang Ming would at most acquire the Douglas Vast hotels in Songjiang City. He did not expect Yang Ming to be so greedy and directly ask for all the Douglas Vast hotels in China from Good and Chen Jie. Does Yang Ming want to ask for an exorbitant price and ask for an exorbitant price? It doesn't seem like it. How can a tycoon of his current level make such a low-level mistake? Pointing to the east and attacking the west. Wouldn't he be laughed at? But looking at Yang Ming's meaning, it didn't seem like he was joking. After all, Yang Ming said it seriously. But in any case, Guo Jianchao 100% supported Yang Ming's decision. He thought that whatever Yang Ming said was right, so although he was a little astonished at the moment, he still nodded firmly to express his support. Cough, 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 cough. Chen Jie opened his mouth wide and began to laugh. He suddenly coughed, tears came out, and the corners of his mouth twitched. However, he didn't feel any pain because he felt that Yang Ming was too funny. He was simply the king of laughing kings. To be able to say such childish words, he was simply invincible. Yang Ming, you. Ha 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 ha, I'm dying of laughter. I can't take it anymore. Chen Jie wanted to speak, but he couldn't help but laugh out loud. He laughed until his snot and tears flowed. Aw. I can't take it anymore. I'm done laughing. Yang Ming looked at Chen Jie's laughing face and really didn't know what to say. He asked faintly, do you think this is so funny? Ha 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 ha, funny, haha, it's more than funny. Chen Jie laughed even more when he heard what Yang Ming said. He kept slapping the table, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Just as Chen Jie was laughing, there was suddenly a puff sound from the staff preparation room not far from the conference room. It sounded like a fart, followed by a burst of laughter. Although the laughter was trying to control the volume of the laughter, it was still particularly clear in this conference room with not many people. Yang Ming glanced at the staff preparation room casually and saw Chen Xiaolong sitting by the door inside. He was listening to the movements outside. At this moment, he covered his mouth and wanted to laugh, but he didn't dare to laugh. He was holding it in as if he had a stroke. When he couldn't hold it in, he still had to hold back his laughter. His whole body was trembling as if he had been electrocuted. It turned out to be this kid. Yang Ming thought, this Chen Jie is interesting. He's not afraid of losing face when negotiating, and he even asked his son to listen at the side. He doesn't think so. He's waiting for me to make a fool of myself in front of Chen Xiaolong, right? Your staff here is quite unique, huh? You can still laugh when you're farting. What kind of exercises are you practicing? Yang Ming glanced in the direction of the staff preparation room and said sarcastically. Because the staff preparation room was next to the conference room's washroom, it was normal for Yang Ming to misunderstand that the sound just now came from the washroom. Moreover, the puff sound that Chen Xiaolong couldn't hold back his laughter was originally from his mouth, but Yang Ming said that it was a fart. Chen Jie couldn't explain it. After all, the two sounds were very similar. He couldn't say that it was his son Chen Xiaolong who was laughing and not farting. Wouldn't that be admitting that Chen Xiaolong was eavesdropping? However, although Chen Jie was extremely annoyed in his heart, he couldn't stop his laughter. He still laughed crazily, ha 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 ha, you, Chen Jie wanted to say, don't change the topic and say those useless things, but he couldn't say it because of his laughter. He could only say, you and you non-stop. Oh, it turns out that you also think that it's very interesting for your staff to poop and fart and laugh non-stop. Yang Ming looked at Chen Jie and said, however, although it's interesting, it's a pity that your management system is too bad. The boss here has something to discuss, but he's unscrupulously pooping and farting and laughing non-stop. It seems that the price of 20 million is too high. Chen Jie didn't want to laugh at first. He wanted to stop and mock Yang Ming, but when he heard that Yang Ming actually said that the price of 20 million was too high, he couldn't help but continue to laugh. Ha 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 ha, 20 million, ha 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 ha. Chen Jie kept laughing, but Kaik didn't laugh. Yang Ming looked at Chen Jie's laughing face and shook his head regretfully. He turned his gaze to Kaik and said to him, Mr. Kaik, it seems that your subordinate has some mental problems. It's not suitable for him to continue to participate in the negotiation. I don't think there's anything funny about this. None of us are laughing, but he's the only one laughing. Kaik was actually very angry at Yang Ming's sarcasm. People aren't afraid of being bold, but they are afraid of not knowing their own limits. Wanting to purchase all the Douglas Vast hotels in China with 20 million was simply a pipe dream. Moreover, he even said that 20 million was too much. Kaik really didn't know what to say to such a person. He didn't laugh because he didn't think this was very funny. The humor cells of foreigners were different from the Chinese. He just felt that Yang Ming was very pitiful. He actually overestimated himself and said these meaningless words. "Mr. Yang Ming, I don't think there's anything funny about this," Kaik said. "However, I don't think you have any sincerity to negotiate. If you just want to say these empty words, then I think you can leave. Our cooperation can't continue." "Really? But why do I feel that the one who doesn't want to cooperate is your president Chen Jie?" Yang Ming asked back. "Mr. Yang Ming, please don't confuse right and wrong. We invited you here to talk about our acquisition of your hotel, but you want to acquire our hotel. With your attitude, can we still continue to talk?" Kaik asked with a frown. "I said, Kaik. Are you mistaken? Who told you that I came here to talk about your acquisition of my hotel?" Yang Ming laughed after hearing it. "When did I say that? Did you hear it personally? Isn't this what you conveyed through Mr. Guo Jianchao when Chen personally came to your hotel yesterday?" said Kaik. "This is not wrong, but I said that I will come here today to discuss the acquisition with you, but I didn't say who will acquire who." Yang Ming shrugged innocently and looked at Kaik with a smile. "If you don't believe me, you can ask Mr. Chen Jie. Didn't President Guo say that yesterday?" Chen Jie also stopped laughing at this moment. He looked at Yang Ming with a gloomy face. Indeed, recalling Guo Jianchao's words yesterday, Guo Jianchao seemed to really say that he was here to discuss the acquisition, but he didn't say who would acquire who. "Are you playing word games?" Chen Jie coughed and held back his laughter completely. He looked at Yang Ming coldly and asked, "I don't think this is a word game." Yang Ming shook his head. "I'm telling the truth. I am going to acquire the Douglas Vast Hotel, and all the Douglas Vast hotels in China." Chapter 1694. "Yang Ming, if you're just here to talk, then you can leave," Chen Jie said with a cold expression. Chen Jie said coldly, "But I can tell you that everyone is equal in front of opportunity. You only have one chance." "Oh. How do you put it?" Yang Ming deliberately teased. "If you walk out of this conference room today, then our cooperation will end here. I'm happy to see how your Songjiang International Hotel goes bankrupt step by step," Chen Jie sneered. "If we talk about the acquisition again, the price won't be so favorable." "Oh, Mr. Chen Jie, is this Douglas Vast Hotel yours? Do you have the final say?" Yang Ming suddenly looked at Kaik playfully. "It turns out that the one who can make the decision here is Mr. Chen Jie. Yang Ming, you don't have to sow discord." Chen Jie thought that he had seen through Yang Ming's trick and snorted. "Mr. Kaik has given me full authority for this negotiation. My decision is the final decision. If you don't believe me, you can ask Mr. Kaik yourself." "There's no need to ask." Kaik also spoke at this moment. He was also very unhappy with Yang Ming's approach, so he said directly, "Chen's meaning is my meaning. It seems that we don't need to continue talking." AI. After listening to Kaik's words, Yang Ming suddenly looked at him with a sympathetic look. "Kaik, do you insist on being with Chen Jie?" "Mr. Yang Ming, what do you mean?" Kaik didn't expect Yang Ming to ask him so rudely. He was a little angry. What was his identity? He was the family master of the Douglas family. This time, he came here in person to support his former subordinate. However, he was too lazy to talk to a small character like Yang Ming personally. If it weren't for Chen Jie, would he be sitting here? However, this Yang Ming didn't seem to understand the situation. He actually dared to talk nonsense with him. Who did he think he was? "Nothing, I just don't want you to follow the example of your cousin." Yang Ming shrugged and said naturally. What do you mean by my cousin's example? Kaik frowned. What are you trying to say? How did Good die? Yang Ming suddenly asked. Good. Ah. Kaik was stunned when he heard the name, Good. He looked at Yang Ming in front of him with some disbelief. Good was the first successor in line before him, but because he offended a powerful and ruthless person, he was killed. Then, he was able to take the position. But how did this young man know Good's name? Although this wasn't a secret in Europe's upper-class society, and many people knew Good's name, how could anyone in the distant China know about this? Even Chen Jie didn't know about Kaik's family. Kaik had never talked about this before. Could it be that this kid is trying to scare me after seeing some gossip on the internet? Thinking of this, Kaik felt that it was very possible. Yang Ming probably found this news from a foreign gossip forum. Good's death has nothing to do with me, Kaik said coldly. I don't have a good relationship with him. You don't have to talk about him. Oh. Really? If Good didn't die, how did you get the position? Yang Ming asked. Moreover, I didn't say that his death has anything to do with you. I just want to remind you that you have to know how Good died. This Kaik in front of him was the current family master of the Douglas family in Elo Town, Europe. The second-in-line successor of the Douglas family. The first-in-line successor, young Master Good, was killed by Yang Ming. His backer, the Lancer family, was also destroyed by Yang Ming. His uncle Jetson had also turned into a wisp of smoke. After Yang Ming learned the name of the Douglas Vast Hotel, he checked the background of the Douglas Vast Hotel. He didn't expect that it was really an industry invested by the Douglas family in Elo Town. Yang Ming was speechless about Kaik's behavior of coming to his death one after another right after Good's death. Why are the people in this family a bit arrogant? In the beginning, Yang Ming didn't intend to do anything to him. To be exact, Yang Ming was too lazy to care about him. Yang Ming felt that the Douglas family had already suffered a tragic blow, so Yang Ming sympathized with him. He didn't want this newly appointed family master to be finished. But unexpectedly, this guy didn't know what was good for him. He cooperated with Chen Jie and pressured him step by step. In the end, he even wanted to buy his Songjiang International Hotel and offered a low price of 20 million. This made Yang Ming unable to bear it. Well, since you don't know what's good for you, how can I let you go? It's not Yang Ming's style to not take revenge. Originally, Yang Ming only planned to buy Songjiang's Douglas Vast Hotel as a slight punishment. But when he came here, he changed his mind. He directly asked for an exorbitant price and asked for all the Douglas Vast hotels in the entire Chinese region. What do you want to say? Kaik heard Yang Ming's seemingly meaningful words and suddenly became a little nervous. I don't know if you're really stupid, or have a memory problem. Yang Ming looked at Kaik with some regret. Your family's elders, those elders, didn't tell you who Good offended and was killed. Who offended? Kaik's face changed again. What does this have to do with you? Nonsense, of course, it has something to do with me. After you heard my name, you actually dared to do this kind of thing with Chen Jie. I really admire your courage. Yang Ming shook his head. You can't use courage to describe this. You're simply a suicide squad. Because you're not afraid of death. Your name. Kaik's face became even more ugly. He faintly had a bad premonition. What do you want to say? Nothing. I'll give you some time. You can call your family's elders and ask them who killed Good. Yang Ming didn't explain anything and said directly to Kaik. This. Kaik hesitated. Although he was very unhappy to be ordered by Yang Ming's words gave him a very bad feeling. Could it be that Yang Ming has something to do with Good's death? Kaik finally picked up the phone and dialed the family's great elder's number. Great elder, I'm Kaik. Kaik didn't avoid anything at this moment. He was nervous and went straight to the topic. Great Elder, I have something to ask. Who is the person good offended? This matter was originally a taboo in the Douglas family, but Kaik had to ask clearly at this moment. Family Master Kaik, why are you asking this? The Great Elder was stunned. He didn't understand what Kaik meant. Tell me quickly. There's something very important. Kaik was a little anxious. Okay. Although the Great Elder didn't know what Kaik meant, he still said, his name is Yangming. He is the son-in-law of the butterfly family. He is someone we can never afford to offend. What? His name is Yangming. You said his name is Yangming. Kaik only felt that his hand that was holding the phone was trembling. At this moment, he was completely dumbfounded. He was somewhat at a loss. His whole person was sluggish as if his soul had left his body. Yes, Family Master. What's wrong with you? The Great Elder wondered why Kaik's reaction was like this. Family Master. Kaik was 100% sure that he had definitely heard the name Yangming in the family before, but he didn't remember it. When Chinjie mentioned this name before, Kaik felt that it was familiar, but he didn't remember anything. Chinese people's names were very difficult for foreigners to remember, just like how foreigners' names were difficult for Chinese people. So Kaik didn't think much about it. But at this moment, when he heard the Great Elder in the family mention the name Yangming again, Kaik knew that he had caused a huge disaster and provoked an existence. Looking at the young man opposite him who still had a faint smile, Kaik thought, how wonderful would it be if time could go back. Chapter 1695. However, time could not be turned back. If time could be turned back, Good would not have died, and Kaik would not have taken the family master's position. Therefore, everything was a beautiful wish, but it could not be realized. Kaik looked at the calm young man opposite him. It was difficult for him to associate him with the ruthless person who killed Good and destroyed the Lancer family. The only thing Kaik knew before was that the ruthless person was Chinese, but he never thought that the person was sitting in front of him. He had just recklessly indulged Chinjie and wanted to buy his hotel for 20 million yuan. It was said that Good's death was a tragedy because Good coveted Yangming's fiancée. Now, Chinjie's son, Chen Xiaolong, actually had ideas about Yangming's woman. Thinking of this, Kaik wanted to immediately cut ties with Chinjie and yell that he did not know this person. However, that required Yangming to believe it. Kaik felt that his help to Chinjie was like the help that Thomas of the Lancer family helped Good. The final result was that he, Chinjie, and Chen Xiaolong were finished together. Kaik's beautiful life 10 minutes ago suddenly turned dark. He looked at Yangming and wanted to cry, Mr. Yangming. I was wrong, Kaik stuttered for a long time. He could not find a suitable word to describe his thoughts at the moment. He did not know what to say to make Yangming forgive him. You were wrong. Yangming looked at Kaik with a smile. He knew that Kaik had confirmed his identity through the phone, so he did not hide anything. I think your Douglas family is in a hurry to die. I have returned here from Elo Town, but you still followed me. You are showing me that you are the new family master. Is it very badass? This. No, Mr. Yang. I was confused before and was deceived by Chinjie. This matter has nothing to do with me. Kaik quickly distanced himself from Chinjie. Boss, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you? Chinjie didn't understand. He didn't know what was wrong with Kaik and why he suddenly said this. Chinjie, don't you understand? Your boss has abandoned you. Yangming glanced at Chinjie and said faintly. Yangming. Don't talk nonsense. Don't sow discord between me and the boss. Chen Jie still didn't understand what Yang Ming meant. He sneered and said, I have followed the boss for so many years. You don't need to judge our relationship. Is that so? Well, in that case, I'm too lazy to say anything to you. Yang Ming glanced at Chen Jie pitifully. Yang Ming didn't speak, so Kaik didn't dare to say anything. He sat there like a cicada in winter with his head lowered. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead. Kaik really regretted listening to Chen Jie's words and getting involved in this mess. He didn't want to be a good family master in Elo Town. Why did he come here to show off? Before he could show off, his life was already in the hands of others. Kaik didn't doubt that Yang Ming could kill him in minutes. Because people at their level basically did things above the law. Just like in Europe, who stood up for the Lancer family when they were completely wiped out. No one good was dead. Who in the Douglas family dared to say anything? No one. Not only did they not dare to say anything, but they were also glad that only good died. They were much better than the Lancer family, and the whole family was not wiped out. Kaik knew that even if he was killed by Yang Ming on the spot, the Douglas family could only flatter and say that Yang Ming did a good job killing a scourge. No one would avenge him. No one was more stupid than another. Only a fool would do such a suicidal act. So Kaik's only thought now was how to survive and how to calm Yang Ming's anger. As for Chen Jie's life and death, let him go to hell. It's all this guy's fault. If it weren't for him, would I be able to come to Songjiang to build a hotel? Okay, Kaik, relax. Yang Ming shrugged, here, I am still a very reasonable person. Of course, as long as you don't cross my bottom line. Yes, yes. Kaik breathed a sigh of relief after hearing Yang Ming's words, but he didn't know if Yang Ming was telling the truth, so he didn't dare to completely relax. Kaik, should we talk about the acquisition? Yang Ming pointed at the asset evaluation report on the table and said. No, no acquisition, no acquisition. Kaik shook his head quickly. What a joke. How would he dare to acquire Yang Ming's hotel? He didn't want to commit suicide. Kaik, pay attention. I'm just talking about acquisition. It's not you acquiring me, but me acquiring you. Yang Ming said calmly, Kaik, what do you think of the price of 20 million? Ah, very reasonable, very reasonable. Not bad, not bad. Kaik didn't care about the hotel now. If he offended Yang Ming, he and his family might disappear directly from the earth. What was the use of the hotels in China? Moreover, Kaik had secretly vowed in his heart that he would never come back to China in his life. He couldn't afford to offend, but he could hide. He wouldn't dare to come back even if he was beaten to death. Therefore, for Yang Ming to take away the property rights of all the Douglas vast hotels in China, Kaik directly accepted it. The price of 20 million was honestly like not paying at all. Even if the family knew afterward that he had given all the hotels to Yang Ming, no one would say a word. If you have the ability, go and get it back. Do you dare? Therefore, Kaik was not afraid of other people's criticism. Is that so? Yang Ming asked back. Kaik was shocked. What does Yang Ming mean by really? Does he think that the price is wrong? Is it too high? Yes, Chen Jie originally offered Yang Ming a price of 20 million. If Yang Ming also bought my hotel for 20 million, he would lose face. It must be like this. Thinking of this, Kaik quickly said carefully, 20 million is too much. I don't need it. 2 million is enough. Kaik was afraid that Yang Ming would be unhappy, so he suddenly reduced the price by 10 times. He didn't dare to say that he would give it away for free. Who knew if Yang Ming was the kind of person who didn't like to take things for free? Therefore, He reduced the price to 2 million, which was basically giving it away for free. Chen Jie was confused as he listened on the side. He didn't know the secret of the Douglas family. Although he knew that Kaik was promoted because the former first-in-line heir was killed by a ruthless person, he would never have thought that Yang Ming was that ruthless person. Therefore, Chen Jie didn't know what Yang Ming and Kaik were talking about after listening to the conversation between them. Yang Ming, what nonsense are you talking to my boss about? What acquisition of the Douglas Vast Hotel? Are you crazy? Chen Jie hadn't figured out the situation yet. He thought that he was still the badass, so he asked very unhappily. Chen, don't interrupt. We are discussing selling the management rights of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China to Mr. Yang Ming at a price of 2 million. Kaik glared at Chen Jie with some displeasure. He thought, if you want to die, you can die later. Don't drag me down with you. When I give the management rights of the hotel to Yang Ming, you can die however you want. I have to go home quickly. I won't play with you anymore. Ah. Chen Jie was stunned when he heard Kaik's words. Selling all the Douglas Vast hotels in China to Yang Ming for 2 million. Is this 2 million in gold or diamonds? Is there a problem with Kaik? How is this possible? It's simply a fantasy. However, seeing Kaik's serious look, it doesn't seem like he is joking. What the hell is going on? For a moment, Chen Jie was a little confused. He didn't know what Kaik was going to do. However, Chen Jie soon came to a realization. He slapped his forehead and exclaimed, "Ha, I know. Boss, you are playing with Yang Ming. You tricked him into selling the hotel to him for 2 million. Ha 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 ha, I know. It's ridiculous. Yang Ming, this idiot, actually believed it. He must be crazy, ha 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 ha." Chapter 1696. The more Chen Jie spoke, the more he felt that he had guessed the truth. He laughed even more happily, ha 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 ha, Yang Ming, why don't you think about it? Can you buy a hotel with 2 million? I think you're really stupid to your grandmother's house. You actually believed him and pretended to be serious. Let me tell you, my boss is lying to you. Chen Jie mocked Yang Ming while laughing. This time, not only Yang Ming, but even Kaik looked at Chen Jie as if he was a fool. Gui Jianchao didn't know how the situation suddenly reversed. After a few words from Yang Ming and a phone call from Kaik, Kaik seemed to have changed into a different person. Gui Jianchao saw fear in Kaik's eyes, a deep fear. It was like the desperate fear when he pursued Sun Jia and was caught by Bao Sonli for a beating. It was even worse than Kaik. Therefore, Gui Jianchao knew that today's business was probably done. This business did not refer to selling the Songjiang International Hotel to Kaik, but to selling Kaik's Douglas Hotel to Yang Ming. However, Chen Jie had always been self-righteous. He thought that he knew everything like the back of his hand. He laughed wildly like a fool, which made Gui Jianchao despise him. Chen, are you done laughing? Kaik asked Chen Jie coldly, if you are done laughing, please keep quiet. If you are not done laughing, go out and laugh. Don't disturb my discussion with Mr. Yang. Ha 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 ha, boss, why are you still pretending with me? Ha ha ha, I have already guessed it. Chen Jie still looked like he knew everything. Boss, don't mess with this kid. Don't waste time with him. Since he wants to die, let him fend for himself. I think you want to die. Kaik was stunned by Chen Jie's words. Why is this kid so unappreciative? Can't he see that he can't afford to offend Yang Ming? He is still talking so much nonsense. He really doesn't know what death is. Ah. Chen Jie didn't expect Kaik to suddenly become so angry. Gui Jianchao, throw this guy into the bathroom over there first. Put him together with the kid who farted just now. Don't let him waste time here. I feel annoyed just listening to him. Yang Ming pointed at Chen Jie and instructed Gu Jianchao. Okay, Brother Yang. After Gu Jianchao accepted the order, he grabbed Chen Jie's collar, lifted him up, and walked in the direction of the staff preparation room in the conference room. Yang Ming told him to put him in Wurzcom. The so-called bathroom was just a casual remark to mock Chen Jie and Chen Xiaolong. Chen Jie was shocked. He wanted to avoid Gu Jinchao's evil claws, but it was too late. He was lifted up. Shut up. If you keep shouting, I don't mind letting you be quiet for a while. Gu Jianchao glared at Chen Jie. The silence he was talking about was naturally to knock Chen Jie out. Chen Jie shuddered. He didn't understand why the situation had become like this. What Kaik said seemed to be true. He wants to sell the hotel to Yang Ming. Could it be that he was bewitched or possessed? How can this be? From Kaik's words, I think you want to die, Chen Jie finally heard something unusual. Kaik was really angry with him, and he wasn't pretending. When he saw that Gu Jianchao lifted him up without saying a word, it also reflected Kaik's thoughts at the moment. That is, Kaik didn't want to care about him at all. What had gone wrong? Kaik was still unwavering in his support before. Why did it suddenly become like this? What if the situation took a turn and they started to compromise with Yang Ming? Even if Chen Jie racked his brains, he wouldn't have thought of the subtle relationship between Kaik and Yang Ming. He would never have thought that Yang Ming was the one who destroyed the Lancer family and stirred up the Douglas family. Bang! Gu Jianchao kicked open the door of the staff lounge and threw Chen Jie in. Chen Xiaolong was listening to the movements outside. He was also very puzzled. Why did his father and Kaik suddenly quarrel? And it was because of Yang Ming. Just as he was wondering, a strong force came from the door panel and directly pushed Chen Xiaolong out. He fell to the ground and saw stars. Before he could react to what was going on, an unknown object like a big sandbag fell on him. Ouch! Chen Xiaolong was smashed until his bones were about to fall apart. He howled, but was horrified to find that the unknown object thrown on him was actually his father, Chen Jie. Dad! What's wrong with you? Chen Xiaolong asked in horror. Don't fucking talk nonsense. Gu Jianchao had long heard that Chen Xiaolong was a good-for-nothing. He actually dared to have thoughts about Brother Yang's woman, so he kicked Chen Xiaolong's crotch. Chen Xiaolong was in so much pain that his eyes almost popped out. He screamed miserably and fainted. This was still considered light. When he thought about how he had thoughts about Sun Jie, the punishment he received was so frightening. Gu Jianchao shuddered when he thought of the scene at that time. What are you doing? Chen Jie was shocked and quickly stood in front of Chen Xiaolong. His eyes were full of madness. You dare to hit my son? I will fight with you. After speaking, Chen Jie pounced on Gu Jianchao. Fuck off. Gu Jianchao slapped Chen Jie's head and said coldly, stay here obediently. Wait for Brother Yang to deal with you later. Don't ask for trouble. After speaking, Gu Jianchao ignored them, turned around and left the staff preparation room. He closed the door with a bang. Jianchao, be careful. This hotel is going to be ours soon. Don't use so much force. You have to fix it yourself if it breaks. Yang Ming glanced at Gu Jianchao and said. Aw. Hee hee. Gu Jianchao scratched his head embarrassedly. However, Kaik was shocked. He thought that Yang Ming was deliberately messing with him. He quickly said, I will fix it, I will fix it. Mr. Yang, don't worry. I will let someone check all the hotels carefully before handing them over to you. I will give them to you when there are no problems. Oh, then I will trouble you. Yang Ming saw that Kaik knew how to behave, so he didn't want to make things difficult for him. No trouble, no trouble. What trouble? This is what I should do. Kaik said carefully. Give me your account number for the 2 million. I will find someone to transfer it to you when I go back. Yang Ming said, as for the contract, you don't have to sign it. After you finish the transfer procedures, send it directly to the Songjiang International Hotel and give it to President Guo. Yes, yes. Kaik nodded. And, you won't deny it, right? Yang Ming asked with a smile. Ah. No, how can I? Kaik quickly waved his hand and denied. How could he dare to deny it? He couldn't wait to give these hotels to Yang Ming and appease Yang Ming's anger. As for signing the contract or not, it didn't matter to Kaik. Why would Yang Ming need a contract? Even if he wanted all the Douglas Vast hotels in the world, Kaik couldn't refuse to give it to him. Kaik knew very well which was more important between extermination and money. Yang Ming nodded. He just asked casually. He wasn't afraid that Kaik would go back on his word unless Kaik was a fool. Let's end today's matter here. I don't want to see Chen Jia and his son again. Yang Ming stood up. Will you deal with this matter? Yes, Mr. Yang. You can rest assured. Kaik promised. Yang Ming didn't say anything more, but waved to Guo Jianchao, indicating that the two could leave. Guo Jianchao stood up and followed Yang Ming out of the conference room. Kaik let out a sigh of relief. Finally, the matter was resolved satisfactorily. Yang Ming, the great god, was sent away. Humph, it's Chen Jia, this bastard. Even if Yang Ming didn't say anything, Kaik didn't intend to let Chen Jia go. This guy almost put me and my family in danger. He can't be forgiven. Thinking of this, Kaik picked up the phone and called his bodyguard. Chapter 1697. Guo Jianchao had broadened his horizons today. He had long heard from Bao Sanli and Ho Xinhan how powerful Yang Ming was and how powerful he was. But today's incident really shocked Guo Jianchao. He knew what it meant to be powerful. This was a world of difference from doing well in the general sense. With just a few words, Yang Ming could make the world-class hotel chain family, the Douglas family, give up the management rights of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China. Was this something an ordinary person could do? Although Guo Jianchao didn't know how Yang Ming did it, Yang Ming did do it. The facts were in front of Guo Jianchao, so he had to believe it. The original awesome Chen Jia was abandoned by Kaik in an instant. Brother Yang, you were so awesome just now. Kaik directly turned from a master to a grandson. Guo Jianchao said very comfortably. The attacks from the Douglas Vast hotels in the past few days made Guo Jianchao very angry. However, Yang Ming and Bao Sanli did not respond before, so Guo Jianchao could only endure and not fight back. Coupled with Chen Jia's superior attitude and his words when he wanted to acquire Guo Jianchao several times, Guo Jianchao had been sullen to a certain extent. Today, he finally burst out, but it was not an outbreak of grievance, but an outbreak of pleasure. Looking at Kaik's obedient grandson, watching him give up on Chen Jia, and the scene of Chen Jia being thrown into the utility room by Guo Jianchao made Guo Jianchao's blood boil. Brother Yang, you're really awesome. They asked for it. There's no other way. Yang Ming shrugged. I didn't want to do anything to them, but who asked them to be so aggressive? If it was just legitimate business, I wouldn't want to do anything to them, and I wouldn't have the time to care about them. But they actually wanted to use this to threaten me to leave Chen Mengyan. Ha! Guo Jianchao shook his head. Chen Mengyan was Yang Ming's real girlfriend. At that time, Sun Jia, who had nothing to do with Yang Ming, was like this. She almost killed Guo Jianchao, let alone Chen Mengyan. Therefore, Kaik helped Chen Jie to show off. As a result, all the Douglas vast hotels in China were included. This generosity was simply too awesome. If Kaik knew that he had to pay such a high price to act tough, and that he didn't succeed in the end, he wouldn't have acted tough no matter what. Unfortunately, he didn't know this before. Brother Yang, why did Kaik suddenly change his mind? Gui Jianchao was very curious about this matter. He had hesitated several times to ask Yang Ming, but it was not easy to do so. Now, after thinking for a long time, he finally could not help but ask. He, you mean Kaik? His family is called the Douglas family, Yang Ming said with a smile. I know this, but what does this Douglas family have to do with this matter? Asked Gui Jianchao. The first heir of the Douglas family was killed by me because he harassed my woman. Yang Ming did not hide it from Gui Jianchao. Gui Jianchao was also his loyal subordinate. He had been with him for a long time, his grandfather helped him to act tough, and then his family was exterminated by me. Ah! Gui Jianchao heard Yang Ming's words and suddenly opened his mouth in surprise. Gui Jianchao had done a long investigation on what kind of family the Douglas family was. Yang Ming and Bao Sanli did not respond, but Gui Jianchao himself had already regarded the Douglas family as an opponent. So he was very clear about the Douglas family's property and nature. What a behemoth this was! However, when he was collecting information, he also saw the gossip on some foreign forums. It said that the first heir of the Douglas family, Good Douglas, was killed because he had offended a ruthless person. Good's grandfather's family, the Lancer family, was also exterminated. At that time, Gui Jianchao thought that this ruthless person was simply too ruthless. It would be great if he could have a relationship with this ruthless person. As long as he warned Kaik, he believed that Kaik would definitely stop and not target his Songjiang International Hotel. However, Gui Jianchao felt that this was just his beautiful wish. He could only fantasize about it when he had nothing to do. It was simply impossible to realize. However, after seeing the gossip, Gui Jianchao also searched for the Lancer family. Originally, Gui Jianchao thought that the Lancer family was just an ordinary small family, so it was exterminated. If it was a behemoth like the Douglas family, it was impossible for that ruthless person to exterminate the family directly no matter how powerful he was. After just one search, Gui Jianchao fainted. This Lancer family, how is it a small family? This is one of the top families in European upper society. It is many times stronger than the Douglas family. Moreover, the Lancer family is an arms dealer. This kind of terrifying family was actually exterminated by one person. Gui Jianchao sighed at the time, but at the same time, he didn't quite believe the authenticity of this gossip. How is it possible that such a big family was exterminated? Is it a joke? After all, gossip was just gossip. No one knew whether it was true or not. Gui Jianchao searched for the official news again and found that the Lancer family really disappeared. It was just that they were all burned to death because of a fire. This kind of thing could be a cover-up or the truth of the matter. As for the gossip on the forum, it could also be the truth. It could also be that some bored people association based on this fire. In short, the people involved were all dead. Who knew whether this matter was true or not? When Gui Jianchao heard Yang Ming mention this matter, Gui Jianchao was dumbfounded. The gossip I saw on the internet is all true. Moreover, that ruthless person is Brother Yang. Is it the Lancer family? Gui Jianchao asked stutteringly. Oh. How do you know? Yang Ming was stunned by Gui Jianchao's answer. I haven't told anyone about this. Ugh. Gui Jianchao only felt that his blood was boiling. His worship of Yang Ming could no longer be described with words. He simply prostrated himself. Brother Yang, you are too powerful. Previously, I saw gossip about this matter on the internet. It said that a ruthless person killed the first successor of the Douglas family, Good Douglas, and exterminated his grandfather's Lancer family. At that time, I thought that this ruthless person was too awesome. If only I knew this ruthless person and let him warn Kaik. Let's see if he still dares to mess around. I didn't expect. Oh. This matter became gossip. Yang Ming shook his head and thought that it was probably the news released by the Butterfly family to deter those big families who have ulterior motives towards the Butterfly family. Yes. I understand. Brother Yang, you just told Kaik how his brother died. I was still a little puzzled at that time, so I didn't connect the dots for a while. Gui Jianchao suddenly said, now that I have connected you with that ruthless person, it can be explained. He did a bit too much. If not, I wouldn't want to mention this matter, Yang Ming said. In fact, Kaik and Chen Jie are really nothing in my eyes. Of course. Gui Jianchao said happily, I was wondering why Brother Yang didn't care before. It turns out that you just regarded them as clowns and didn't put them in your eyes at all. Instead, I was anxious. Brother Yang had already devised a strategy. After the hotel deed and land deed are obtained, it will probably be a long process to change the name and replan. Yang Ming pondered, at that time, I probably won't be in Songjiang. Jianchao, you should assist Xiaolu to take care of this matter. I think you have some talent in hotel management. Ah. Brother Yang, you mean, so many hotels are handed over to me to take care of? Gui Jianchao was surprised and happy after hearing Yang Ming's words. Nonsense, do you think I have time to manage these things? Yang Ming scolded with a smile, just don't mess it up. Don't worry, Brother Yang. You can rest assured with me handling things. Gui Jianchao promised. You brat, keep boasting. Yang Ming shook his head, look at how excited you are. Aren't you depressed this time? Hee hee. It seems that I was still a little stingy before. My vision was too short. Gui Jianchao said self-deprecatingly, if I knew this, I wouldn't have been angry with Chen Jie. I would have treated him as a clown and added some laughs. Chapter 1698. Messing around. Yang Ming shrugged, you sure know how to describe it. Ha! Gui Jianchao laughed, Brother Yang, you don't know. When I took Chen Jie to the staff preparation room just now, you didn't see Chen Jie's panicked and bewildered eyes. It was so cool. Maybe he still doesn't understand why Kaik abandoned him. Under the premise of his family's destruction and his own death, Kaik would naturally give up on Chen Jie. There is no doubt about it, Yang Ming said with a smile. Yang Ming was right. When Kaik's and his family's lives were threatened, he decisively chose to give up on Chen Jie. Kaik's bodyguard quickly came to the conference room. When he saw Kaik, he asked respectfully, Family Master, do you need me to do anything? I don't want to see the two people in the preparation room in the future. You know what to do, right? Kaik pointed to the staff preparation room not far behind him. Understood, Family Master. Don't worry. Just leave it to me. The bodyguard nodded solemnly. This was the first major task the Family Master had given him since he took office. The bodyguard would naturally do his best. Only in this way could he get the Family Master's approval. The bodyguard didn't want to be fired soon. After all, although it was dangerous to follow the Family Master, the benefits were great. He also received a lot of money every month. There were many people eyeing this position. The bodyguard didn't dare to mess up. Kaik nodded, stood up, and turned out of the conference room. He believed that the bodyguard had already understood his meaning. Kaik meant to let the bodyguard kill Chen Jie and Chen Xiaolong, and make them disappear from this world forever. Kaik didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this matter, because the Douglas family was originally from the underworld in Elo Town. Killing a few people was a very normal thing for the family. Although this was not Elo Town, Kaik was not worried about anything. He was still very confident in the means and methods of his bodyguards. They wouldn't leave any traces. After Kaik left, the bodyguard walked to the staff preparation room and kicked the door open. He looked at the frightened Chen Jie and Chen Xiaolong inside and said, "Come out. I will take you to a good place." "No. You can't do that. I want to see Kaik." "Where is Kaik?" Chen Jie had also heard the conversation between Kaik and the bodyguard in the conference room outside the room. He didn't believe that Kaik would just give up on him. He was unwilling. He knew that if this bodyguard asked him to go out, he probably wouldn't be able to return. Therefore, he wanted to find Kaik and talk to him face to face. "The patriarch won't see you," the bodyguard said coldly. "Don't force me to make a move." "No. I've followed the patriarch through life and death for so many years. I've been at his beck and call. He can't just abandon me like this." Chen Jie roared, "No, I must see Kaik. I want to ask him if he still has a conscience." Kaik actually did not go far. He stood not far from the conference room. He heard Chen Jie's roar clearly, but he did not go in. He was very clear about his choice. Although Kaik was reluctant to send Chen Jie to his death, he was also in a dilemma. After all, this was the person who had started his career with him. Giving up on him like this, however, in front of the family's interests, everything that hindered the family's interests had to be eliminated. What's more, if Chen Jie didn't die, he would die. Kaik was not that stupid. If you hadn't encouraged me to go against Yang Ming for your son, would I have come to Songjiang? Would I have fallen to such a state? If it weren't for you, would I have lost all the Douglas vast hotels in China?" Kaik thought secretly. He no longer felt uncomfortable in his heart. All of this was the result of Chen Jie's own actions. If it weren't for him, he wouldn't be like this. He would still be sitting in the position of the patriarch in Europe, calling the wind and calling the rain every day. Thinking of this, Kaik strode out of the conference room and went downstairs. He still had a lot of things to do. For example, he had to count the number and assets of all the Douglas vast hotels in China. Although he was the patriarch, it was necessary to communicate with several elders inside the family first. Chen Jie dialed the number of the great elder again. "Patriarch Kaik, why are you calling again? Is there anything else?" The great elder was a little puzzled by Kaik's consecutive calls. "Great elder, please get someone to count the location and asset structure of all the Douglas vast hotels in China," said Kaik. "Oh. Why do you suddenly want to count this?" the great elder asked with some doubts. "I'm going to give away all the Douglas vast hotels in China," said Kaik. "What, give away?" The great elder was stunned. "Did I hear it wrong? Kaik actually wants to give away all the Douglas vast hotels in China. What kind of international joke is this? That's tens of billions of assets." "Yes, give it away," Kaik said helplessly. Kaik also said helplessly, "I have to give it away. I've symbolically received 2 million, but I might not be able to get it." "Kaik, are you out of your mind? You want to give away the family's assets? What are you thinking? Why are you, the patriarch, helping others?" The great elder was a little angry. According to seniority, he was Kaik's uncle, so he could scold Kaik directly. "Great elder. I have no choice. If I don't give it away, I'm probably done for. Our Douglas family is also done for." Kaik wasn't going to say that he was supporting Chen Jie. He just said it vaguely. Otherwise, he would have to take responsibility for this matter. He didn't want to be dismissed as the new patriarch. Done for. Kaik, what are you talking about? Who are you going to give it away to? Who dares to say such big words that our Douglas family is done for? The great elder was angry when he heard it. What kind of family is the Douglas family? Who has such a big tone? Yang Ming. Kaik sighed and said. On the side of the great elder, after hearing the name Yang Ming, he suddenly became silent. Kaik didn't urge him, but let him digest it. Wasn't I shocked for a long time when I just found out that Yang Ming was that ruthless person? Kaik, you mean, Yang Ming wants our family's hotel in China? The great elder finally spoke. He changed his previous arrogant tone into a cautious way of speaking. Yes, it's him. This is why I called you to confirm before. Kaik directly said that Yang Ming wanted it, but he didn't say the cause and effect. Anyway, the people he brought this time were his confidants, so he wasn't afraid that the family would know when he returned. Okay, I'll find someone to calculate the location and assets of all the Douglas vast hotels in China. I'll give you an answer as soon as possible. The great elder agreed without hesitation when he heard that Yang Ming wanted it. The great elder knew what kind of person Yang Ming was. He believed that if Yang Ming wanted the Douglas family to be finished, it would only take a few minutes. Wasn't the Lancer family a good example? Okay, call me as soon as possible, said Kaik. After hanging up the phone, Kaik also breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the great elder didn't ask why Yang Ming wanted the hotel. Otherwise, it would be troublesome for him to explain. How could he know that the great elder didn't want to ask at all? Did Yang Ming need a reason to want all the Douglas vast hotels in China? It could be a sudden idea, or it could be premeditated. Anyway, he wanted it. You have to give it even if you don't want to. Kaik hadn't experienced it personally, so he didn't know how terrifying Yang Ming was. However, the great elder knew how powerful and unscrupulous Yang Ming was. Kaik turned around and went into the elevator. He couldn't hear Chen Jie's shouts anymore. This was also his own trouble, so he should bear it himself. Chapter 1699. You don't have to call him. The family master has already left. The bodyguard glanced at Chen Jie without the slightest emotion and said coldly. No. Impossible, Kaik will not give up on me. I am his loyal subordinate. I have gone through life and death with him. I have been busy for him. He will not give up on me. You are lying. Find Kaik for me. Chen Jie roared at the top of his voice. The bodyguard found Chen Jie's words a little funny. He thought, you are his loyal subordinate. It seems that I am the one, right? I am his bodyguard. I have gone through life and death with him. I have been busy for him. Aren't you saying the opposite? You don't have to look for him. If the family master wanted to see you, he would have seen you long ago. Now that he doesn't want to see you, he naturally won't see you again, said the bodyguard. Don't talk nonsense. Do you want to go by yourself, or do you want me to knock you out and take you away? I am still myself. As Chen Jie spoke, he suddenly stood up and hugged the bodyguard. He hugged him tightly, not letting him move at all. Then he shouted, Little Long, run. Dad, you. Chen Xiaolong was scared before, but it was not his turn to speak, so Chen Xiaolong had been hiding behind his father. At this time, when he saw his father hugging Kaik's bodyguard and telling him to run, Chen Xiaolong was a little overwhelmed. Although he was a little stupid, he was not too stupid. At this moment, he understood that his father was risking his life to let him run away. His father definitely couldn't run away. At this time, if he ran away, don't waste time. Run. Chen Jie was anxious and shouted, "What are you still doing? Run." Ah, yes. Chen Xiaolong knew that it was useless for him to stay here with his father. He didn't know martial arts, and he didn't have any means to protect himself, let alone save his father. If he ran away, his father would be able to smile in the afterlife. Thinking of this, Chen Xiaolong responded and ran away. Kaik's bodyguard looked disdainfully at Chen Xiaolong, who ran to the door of the conference room. He shook his head disdainfully and punched Chen Jie's lower abdomen. Chen Jie snorted, but he still held on to the bodyguard tightly. A person's potential was limitless when it erupted. Chen Jie only had one thought now, and that was to hold on to the bodyguard even if he had to die. Chen Xiaolong had escaped, so Chen Jie's grip on the bodyguard's hands tightened. The bodyguard frowned. He didn't expect Chen Jie to be so difficult. Half of Chen Jie's temple was directly dented. This time, Chen Jie definitely couldn't withstand the bodyguard's blow. His skull was already dented. He fainted directly, but his hands were still holding on to the bodyguard tightly. It was obvious that his love for Chen Xiaolong had transcended everything else. If Yang Ming were present, he would have to sigh at the greatness of a father's love. But in contrast, excessive love was the reason for the Qin father and son's tragic encounter today. If Qin Jie didn't spoil Chen Xiaolong so much, he wouldn't have asked Kaik for help, and today's tragedy wouldn't have happened. So this kind of fatherly love was useless. Dad. When Chen Xiaolong ran to the door, he also saw the scene of Chen Jie's skull being flattened in half. Obviously, if Chen Jie was not sent to the hospital immediately, he would not survive. Even if he was sent to the hospital, it was another matter whether he could be saved. Chen Xiaolong screamed at the top of his lungs. Tears fell from his eyes. At this moment, he regretted. He regretted provoking Yang Ming and harassing Qin Mengyan. Qin Mengyan is not mine. The result of forcing it can only be a tragedy. However, what is done is done. There is no turning back. Father died because he protected me. I must live on strong. I can't let my father die in vain. Chen Xiaolong quickened his pace and quickly ran out of the conference room. The bodyguard frowned. He couldn't let Chen Xiaolong run away. Otherwise, he couldn't bear the family master's anger. Looking at Chen Jie's hands that were still tightly clasped on his body, the bodyguard tried to pry them apart. Caw! There was a sound of bones breaking. Chen Jie's hands were directly broken by the bodyguard. He threw them aside and chased in the direction of Chen Xiaolong's escape. Chen Xiaolong was also an idiot. He had no experience in escaping. He ran out of the conference room, went straight into the elevator, and pressed the button for the first floor. In his opinion, taking the elevator was the fastest way. Even if the bodyguard caught up, he could only wait for the elevator to come up. By then, he would have already run away. However, he forgot that there was something called an emergency exit in this world. Every hotel had stairs in addition to the elevator. The bodyguard chased to the elevator, glanced at the falling elevator, then turned and ran directly into the emergency exit and down the stairs. He was professionally trained. He didn't need to take the stairs at all. He sat directly on the handrail of the stairs and slid down. After a few ups and downs, he had already reached the first floor and blocked the elevator on the first floor. At this time, the elevator had not come down yet. With its ding sound, the elevator reached the first floor. The elevator door slowly opened. Chen Xiaolong didn't look outside and rushed out. He wanted to escape from here as quickly as possible. Bang! As soon as Chen Xiaolong ran out of the elevator, he felt that he had bumped into something. He almost stumbled directly. Damn, don't block the way. Chen Xiaolong found that it was a person, so he cursed. He wanted to go around him and continue to escape. But he didn't expect his collar to be lifted up by someone. Go back, kid. You can't run away, said the bodyguard coldly. He thought in his heart that this kid was still young. Otherwise, he would have to spend a lot of effort to catch him. Ah. Chen Xiaolong just wanted to call for help, but the bodyguard covered his mouth and held him back. The bodyguard grabbed him into the elevator and closed the elevator door. Then, he pressed the button for the floor where the conference room was located. The elevator slowly began to rise. In the elevator, the bodyguard let go of the hand covering Chen Xiaolong's mouth. The surveillance video in the elevator was the hotel's own. There was no need to be afraid of Chen Xiaolong calling for help. Kid, don't think about running away. No one can run away from the people that the family master wants to kill. The bodyguard still said coldly without the slightest expression. Of course, this could only be said to Chen Xiaolong and Chen Jie. The previous family master of the Douglas family, Good's father, didn't want to let go of Yang Ming. What happened in the end? Chen Xiaolong was now shocked and angry. He didn't expect this bodyguard to block the elevator door faster than him. If he was caught, how could it be good? However, if he wanted to run now, he definitely couldn't. How could he be the opponent of this burly man? Right, play dead. Chen Xiaolong consciously thought of a brilliant plan, which was to play dead. If he died, then this bodyguard would let him go, right? It had to be said that Chen Xiaolong's idea was really stupid and naive. Ah. I'm dead. Chen Xiaolong thought of this, rolled his eyes, and fell to the ground. With a thump-thump, Chen Xiaolong lay straight in the elevator. Ha! The bodyguard was a little dumbfounded. Dead? Before he died, he said that he was going to die. Is there such a stupid person? Is there? Is there? Is there really such a person? The bodyguard didn't know what to say. He couldn't use words to describe his mood at the moment. He had encountered the world's most stupid person. He didn't expect that there was such a stupid person in the world. He had reached a certain level. Does he think that he is a god? Can he predict before he dies? Looking at Chen Xiaolong, who rolled his eyes and lay motionless on the ground, the bodyguard was really speechless. He didn't know what to say. Hey! The bodyguard kicked Chen Xiaolong. Chen Xiaolong didn't move. Pretending to be dead was also a very painful thing. Chen Xiaolong's eyes were sore. I hope this bodyguard can believe it. I heard that after people die, they will stretch out their right leg and say, "Oh no." The bodyguard wanted to tease Chen Xiaolong. This kid didn't say it. Could it be that he is faking his death? Chapter 1700. The bodyguard was able to follow Kaikir, so he was naturally proficient in Chinese. Therefore, there was no obstacle in communicating with Chen Xiaolong. Ah. After a person dies, do they have to stretch out their right leg and say whimper? When Chen Xiaolong heard the bodyguard's words, he suddenly hesitated in his heart. Is this true or false? Why have I never heard of it? However, I have never seen a dead person before. Who knows if a dead person will say whimper? However, hearing the bodyguard's serious tone, it doesn't seem like he's lying. Yes, I've heard an idiom called one life to die. This is probably the meaning of whimper. Otherwise, why would it be called one life to die, instead of one life to be amazing or one life to be tortoise? Thinking of this, Chen Xiaolong became more and more certain that this must be the case. This bodyguard didn't lie to him. Whimper. Chen Xiaolong quickly stretched out his right leg and cried out. Then, he continued to lie on the ground and play dead. The bodyguard didn't know what to say anymore. He kicked Chen Xiaolong's ass and said, "Damn it, stop pretending. Get up quickly. I've never seen someone as stupid as you. Too fucking stupid." Ouch. Chen Xiaolong was in so much pain that he jumped on the ground with a whoosh. He couldn't pretend anymore and directly cried out. Chen Xiaolong saw that he couldn't pretend anymore, so he could only get up from the ground. He covered his butt with both hands and couldn't even stand properly. However, his eyes were very vicious as he looked at the bodyguard. "You lied to me. Who would believe you when you're pretending to be dead?" The bodyguard curled his lips in ridicule. "Before you died, you even called me dead. Are you afraid that others won't know that you're dead?" This. Chen Xiaolong was embarrassed. He didn't know what a dead person looked like. He just took it for granted. How could he know that there were so many things to say? However, when he heard the bodyguard's sarcasm, he became even more resentful. "Then, were you playing with me after that? So what if I'm playing with you?" The bodyguard laughed and said, "Your father died in vain for having such an idiot son like you. You're not allowed to insult my father." Chen Xiaolong stubbornly straightened his neck. "Ha! Little brat, you have some backbone." The bodyguard said disdainfully, "But you'd better have a backbone when you see your father. You'll be meeting him soon." "What do you mean?" Before Chen Xiaolong could ask this question, he felt a sharp pain in the back of his head. Then, his vision turned black, and he lost consciousness. When the bodyguard saw that the elevator was about to stop, he immediately knocked Chen Xiaolong out. He was afraid that this kid would be dishonest and cause trouble after getting out of the elevator. If that happened, it would be troublesome to catch him back. Ding! The elevator door opened. The bodyguard took Chen Xiaolong out of the elevator and walked straight to the conference room. This floor belonged to the management of the hotel, so there were no outsiders, and the bodyguards weren't worried that their behavior would be seen by others. Back in the conference room, the bodyguard threw Chen Xiaolong next to Chen Jiye's corpse. Originally, the bodyguard did not intend to do it in the conference room. He thought that he would find a place by the sea where there was no one and kill Chen Jiye and Chen Xiaolong. Then, he would take a motorboat and dump the bodies in a place with sharks to destroy the evidence. But now, it seemed that he could only do it in the hotel. At that time, the blood of these two people would coagulate, and it would not be easy to attract sharks. Only the smell of blood could attract sharks. After a person died for a while, the blood would slowly coagulate. But now that these two people had fainted, it would be really difficult to transport them away without killing them. So, the bodyguard directly took out a long needle and stabbed Chen Xiaolong and Chen Jiye's temples. The two people died painlessly in a coma. After killing these two people, the bodyguard called another bodyguard beside Kaik to send 2 large suitcases. The two put Chen Jiye and Chen Xiaolong's bodies into the suitcases, and then carried them out of the hotel. Driving the hotel's commercial car, the two went straight to the Songjiang Pier. When they passed by the vegetable market on the way, the bodyguard went down to buy a few live chickens. He planned to kill them at sea and let the blood out to attract sharks. The Douglas Vast Hotel had a yacht rental company at the pier. The two people got a yacht without any resistance. They carried 2 suitcases with corpses and a few live chickens out to sea. "Boss, this should be enough, right? According to the nautical chart, there are often sharks around here." The bodyguard who was called by the previous bodyguard looked at the nautical chart and said. The previous bodyguard was the leader of these bodyguards, so the people below called him boss. "Sang-an, kill a chicken and see if it can attract sharks." The bodyguard who was called boss also looked at the nautical chart, then nodded and ordered the bodyguard he called. "Yes." The bodyguard named Sang Yan picked up a chicken and came to the deck of the yacht. He cut the blood vessels on the chicken's neck with a knife, and then threw the chicken into the sea. Although the chicken blood continued to gush out, it quickly disappeared due to the dilution of the seawater. "Boss, the amount of chicken blood is too little." "It doesn't seem to work," said Sang Yan. "Well, then kill a few more." "We bought a lot anyway," said the boss. "Yes." Sang Yan picked up a few more chickens, slaughtered them, and threw them into the sea. "Boss, it still doesn't seem to work." "Ah, they're here. The sharks are here." Sang Yan just wanted to say no, but then he saw a group of sharks swimming in the distance. The boss looked and confirmed that the sharks were coming, so he said, "Hurry up and help me throw these 2 corpses into the sea." "Okay." Sang Yan helped the boss drag out the suitcases, then threw the bodies of the Chin father and son into the sea. At this time, the sharks had already arrived nearby. They smelled the blood and surrounded them. They swallowed the chickens and the Chin father and son in the sea back and forth until not even the bones were left. Looking at the ferocious sharks, the boss and Sang Yan shuddered. "Let's go. Set sail back." After confirming that the bodies of the Chin father and son had been destroyed, the boss instructed Sang Yan. "Yes." Sang Yan nodded and went back to set sail. The boss dialed Kaik's phone. "How is it?" Kaik picked up the phone and asked directly. There was a caller ID on his phone, so he knew that this call was from the bodyguard boss. "Family Master, we have killed the Chin father and son and threw them into the sea to feed the sharks. Sang Yan and I watched the sharks eat their bodies before returning," the boss reported. "Very good, you did a good job." Kaik heard that the boss had killed the Chin father and son, so he nodded with praise. "I will remember this matter. Do a good job, and I will not treat you badly." "Yes, boss." The boss was very happy. "After this incident, I am afraid that the family master will treat me as a loyal confidant. As for the unlucky Chin father and son, it was fine if they died." Kaik hung up the call with the bodyguard boss and quickly dialed the phone number that Yang Ming left for him. He had to report this matter to Yang Ming quickly. He had firmly carried out his decision. Shortly after Yang Ming returned to the Songjiang International Hotel, the phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was an unfamiliar number. "Hello." Yang Ming picked up the phone. "Who are you looking for?" "Mr. Yang." "I am Kaik." Kaik said carefully. "Oh, Kaik, what's the matter?" Yang Ming also heard Kaik's voice. However, he didn't know what Kaik was calling when he just left. "Mr. Yang, I have done as you instructed. Chen Jia and Chen Xiaolong have disappeared forever," said Kaik. "Disappeared forever? What do you mean?" Yang Ming was stunned. "I have asked my bodyguards to kill them and throw them into the sea to feed the sharks." Kaik was afraid that Yang Ming didn't understand, so he quickly explained. "Ah, you killed them?" Yang Ming asked in amazement. "Yeah, don't you want to kill them?" Kaik was also stunned. Yang Ming's tone made him a little nervous. Did I misunderstand Yang Ming's meaning? Chapter 1701. "Oh, just kill them." Yang Ming was a little speechless. Kaik really misunderstood his meaning. Previously, Yang Ming said that he didn't want the Chin father and son to appear in front of him in the future. He meant that when Kaik returned to China, he would also take the 2 of them away. However, he didn't expect that Kaik would order someone to kill the 2 of them. At that time, Yang Ming thought that since Chen Jia and Chen Fei were old friends, he would let them go in the end. But if they died, they died. These 2 people deserved to die, so they didn't deserve sympathy. The unlucky Chen father and son. You did a good job. Very good, said Yang Ming. That's good, that's good. Hee, I thought I did something wrong. Kaik breathed a sigh of relief. I have asked the family to count the number, location, and asset composition of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China. I believe there will be results soon, and you can contact Guo Jianchao directly about this, said Yang Ming. Okay, then I won't bother Mr. Yang. Kaik thought, it's better to contact Guo Jianchao. I don't have to be on tenterhooks when contacting Yang Ming directly. At least Guo Jianchao won't do anything to me if he doesn't have Yang Ming's intention. Okay, goodbye. Yang Ming really didn't know what to say. Chen Jie and Chen Xiaolong were killed just like that. Brother Yang, what's wrong? Guo Jianchao was beside Yang Ming. He didn't understand what was going on the phone, so he felt a little strange and asked. Kaik asked someone to kill Chen Jie and Chen Xiaolong and throw them into the sea to feed the sharks. Yang Ming shrugged and said helplessly, I originally meant to let Kaik take them to Europe and disappear from my sight. I don't want to see them anymore, but I didn't expect, ha ha ha. When Guo Jianchao heard Yang Ming's explanation, he suddenly laughed. Brother Yang, the Chen father and son are too unlucky, right? Ha ha ha. That's what I thought as well. But if they die, then so be it. It doesn't matter anyway. Although Yang Ming also felt that the Chen father and son were unlucky, he didn't pity them. This Kaik is even more ruthless. Guo Jianchao sighed. Although I also want to kill Chen Jie, I don't have the guts. Guo Jianchao had always been doing business, so naturally, he wouldn't be involved in these aspects. Yang Ming wouldn't let him do these things either. I'll let Kaik sort out the hotel's information and negotiate with you. You just need to follow up on it. Yang Ming handed the whole thing over to Guo Jianchao. He himself didn't have much time to deal with these things. In the eyes of others, the property rights of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China seemed to be an astronomical amount of wealth, but in Yang Ming's eyes, it was nothing. The acquisition of the Douglas Vast Hotel that had originally caused a sensation in the entire Songjiang business community ended up making everyone's jaws drop. Half a month after the news of the acquisition came out, the Douglas Vast Hotel issued a message in major news media. The Douglas International Hotel Chain Group had transferred the property rights of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China to the Songjiang Mingyang Entertainment Company, Limited, and would gradually change its name to the Songjiang International Hotel within a year. The news was very brief. It didn't explain the reason or the transfer price, but such a short news set off a storm. People who didn't know about it only sighed at the financial strength of the Songjiang Mingyang Entertainment Company, Limited, to be able to complete such a large acquisition at once. Perhaps the acquisition amount had exceeded 10 billion. But in the local business community of Songjiang, they all understood that things were not as simple as they thought. Half a month ago, the Douglas Vast Hotel announced aggressively in the media that it would acquire the Songjiang International Hotel. As a result, half a month later, not only did it not acquire the Songjiang International Hotel, but it was also acquired by someone else. Moreover, this acquisition was not an acquisition in the ordinary sense, but an overall acquisition. The property rights of all the Douglas Vast hotels in China were transferred to the Songjiang Mingyang Entertainment Company, Limited, which was the parent company of the Songjiang International Hotel. What did this mean? It meant that when the acquisition of the Douglas Vast Hotel failed, they had to pay a certain price. Speculation, shock, and panic filled the entire Songjiang business community. Those who originally thought that the Douglas Vast Hotel was backed by an international group and the Douglas family knew at this moment how naive their initial thoughts were. The strength of the Mingyang Group, perhaps what they saw on the surface was just the tip of the iceberg. Their hidden strength was definitely more than that. Otherwise, how could the Douglas family, who had been working hard for decades, sell all the Douglas Vast hotels in China? This was simply equivalent to driving their business out of China. If they wanted to start from scratch, it was basically a very difficult thing. From now on, the Douglas Vast Hotel would become history in China. The Douglas family had also withdrawn from the stage of China's hotel industry. When this news came out, the leader who was in charge of the investment of the Douglas Vast Hotel was also inexplicable and called Kaik. "Mr. Kaik? What the hell is going on?" The leader asked, "Did you encounter any trouble? Do you need me to help you solve it? Is there a hidden story in this? Did the other party use some kind of underhanded method? Do you need me to find someone to investigate? Investigate Yang Ming?" Kaik was shocked when he heard this. "Oh my god, don't you want to kill me? If you go and investigate Yang Ming, even if you can't find anything, Yang Ming will definitely think that this matter was instigated by me. At that time, he will be angry and raze our Douglas family to the ground. I can't bear his anger. Director Liu, I'm sorry. This is the decision of our family's senior management. It has nothing to do with Ming Yang Entertainment Company, Limited," Kaik said. "Our two sides have a friendly cooperation and a friendly discussion. It's just that our family wants to make business adjustments, so this decision was made. So, it seems that I am oversensitive." Director Liu couldn't say anything more when he heard Kaik say this. He only called out of personal concern. Since this hotel had been built in Songjiang, it didn't matter if it was called the Douglas Vast Hotel or the Songjiang International Hotel. It was Songjiang's industry. It wasn't important who managed it. Kaik hung up the phone and breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Director Liu didn't directly investigate Yang Ming on his own initiative. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to defend himself. He wouldn't even know how he died. After the Douglas International Hotel Chain Group released the news in the media, the Songjiang Ming Yang Entertainment Company, Limited also released a news confirming the news previously said by the Douglas Vast Hotel. They said that they would complete the renaming of the Douglas Vast Hotel one by one within a year. Although many people were shocked before, after the Ming Yang Entertainment Company, Limited confirmed it, these people understood that the news was really true. Even Ming Yang Entertainment confirmed it, so it must be true. Uncle Yang Dashin called. Yang Ming smiled and picked it up. "Uncle, what's the matter? You brat, you made Uncle worried. You actually made such a big move. I thought that your hotel was really going to be bought by the Douglas Hotel Group. In the end, you bought them out. That really made my eyes pop out." Yang Dashin was also shocked after seeing the news. He didn't react for a long time until Ming Yang Entertainment also confirmed the authenticity of the news. Then, Yang Dashin quickly called Yang Ming. It was an impromptu decision. Yang Ming smiled. He did have an impromptu decision. If it weren't for Kaik and Chenjia pressuring him step by step, Yang Ming wouldn't have bothered with them. Impromptu decision. It can't be, right? You're joking with Uncle again. Yang Dashin naturally didn't believe Yang Ming's words. But Uncle is not an unreasonable person. This kind of thing has to be kept absolutely confidential. Uncle also understands. Yang Ming knew that his uncle had misunderstood, but this matter really couldn't be explained. He laughed twice. "Oh, Uncle, it's more or less like that. And, knowing that you're fine and have acquired such a big industry, Uncle is relieved." Yang Dashin said, "Then I won't bother you. You must have a lot of things to do." "Okay, then I'll call you again." Yang Ming hung up the phone. Chapter 1702. Not long after his uncle's call, Jing Xiaolu's call also came in. Jing Xiaolu didn't know about the acquisition before. She knew that Yang Ming was going to Yunnan soon, so she couldn't do anything about the Douglas Vast Hotel's pressure on the Songjiang International Hotel. Jing Xiaolu understood that Yang Ming didn't want to care about these things now. Although she didn't agree with the Douglas Vast Hotel's approach, she couldn't say anything. Yang Ming didn't say anything. What else could she do? It wasn't that Guo Jianchao didn't ask her, but Bao Sonli couldn't do anything. However, what Jing Xiaolu didn't expect was that Yang Ming suddenly made such a big move. Until the acquisition was successful, the media only spread the news. She actually didn't know about it before. Anyway, she was now the chairman of Ming Yang Entertainment. Yang Ming actually hid this kind of thing from her. Jing Xiaolu felt a little angry when she thought about it. Those reporters had all called her, but Jing Xiaolu didn't know anything. Jing Xiaolu said that she didn't know, but someone had to believe it. Could those reporters believe it? It couldn't be helped. Jing Xiaolu had to be vague. She said that she would hold a press conference after the matter was dealt with. Only then did the reporters let Jing Xiaolu go temporarily. However, Jing Xiaolu didn't intend to let Yang Ming go so easily. Anyway, I'm his woman. Why didn't he even say hello? Xiaolu. Yang Ming picked up the phone. What's the matter? Yang Ming, what's the matter? The acquisition is such a big thing. Why didn't you tell me? The reporters came to the door, but I didn't know anything. Jing Xiaolu said with some grievance. Ugh, this matter. Yang Ming remembered that Jing Xiaolu was the chairman of Ming Yang Entertainment. He only informed Guo Jianchao, but Jing Xiaolu was still in the dark. No wonder Jing Xiaolu was angry. Why? Do you want to renege on your debt? Jing Xiaolu heard Yang Ming's tone. It seemed that he wanted to shirk his responsibility, so she was a little unhappy. No. Xiaolu, I'm sorry. I just thought of this at the spur of the moment. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. Yesterday, Chen Jie suddenly came to the International Hotel and found Guo Jianchao. He said that he wanted to acquire us. The negotiation date was set for today, so I went over today. Who knew that Chen Jie would be so aggressive? As a result, I acquired them in a fit of anger. This was a last-minute decision, so I didn't inform you. I see. Jing Xiaolu knew Yang Ming. Sometimes, as long as it was not the end of his patience, he would let some people off the hook. Yang Ming said that it was a last-minute decision, so it must be so. Jing Xiaolu was a little embarrassed by her own questioning. Yang Ming, then I have wronged you. I'm sorry. What's there to be sorry about? Yang Ming smiled and said, why are you being so polite with me? You're making it seem like we're not that close. And then I won't be polite with you. Hurry up and ask someone to explain the acquisition plan to me. I don't want others to ask me if I know anything, said Jing Xiaolu. Okay, I'll let Guo Jianchao handle this matter. I'll ask him to talk to you. Yang Ming said until here and suggested, in the future, Ming Yang Entertainment can set up a separate hotel business management department to manage these hotels. I think Guo Jianchao should be in charge of this. And I'll listen to you. I'll discuss with Brother Bao and make arrangements, Jing Xiaolu responded. Guo Jianchao also heard Yang Ming's words, and his face suddenly showed an excited expression. Guo Jianchao was very moved and excited by Yang Ming's high regard for him. It seems that I haven't been loyal to Yang Ming for so long. Yang Ming still thinks about me. When Yang Ming hung up the phone, Guo Jianchao said with some excitement, Brother Yang. I'm afraid that I can't do it, damn. A man better not say that he can't do it. Yang Ming patted Guo Jianchao's shoulder. Ugh. Guo Jianchao sweated. He didn't expect Yang Ming to joke. Brother Yang, I'm really afraid that I can't do it, hee hee. how do you know that you can't do it if you haven't done it? Yang Ming smiled and said, Bao Sanli is not as good as you. At least you have a professional background. You used to study business management. What about him? Didn't he do well? Then I will try. Gui Jianchao nodded. Don't try. You must do it well, said Yang Ming. Okay, Brother Yang, you can rest assured. I will do it well. Gui Jianchao nodded heavily. The acquisition storm caused by the Douglas Vast Hotel ended here. Although this matter became a topic of conversation for some people for a long time, Yang Ming had already returned to a peaceful life again. For Zhao Ying's matter, Yang Ming had not found a suitable way to deal with it. He could not let it go, but he did not know if he should go further, or how to go further. Come to think of it, my feelings for Zhao Ying should be at the same time as Qin Mengyan. If it were not for Zhao Ying's hesitation, the one who would be with me first would be Zhao Ying. However, Zhao Ying also had her own scruples at the beginning. The relationship between a teacher and a student was always a topic to be criticized and a taboo. Zhao Ying resigned and became a student again. The two did not have this obstacle, but because of a series of misunderstandings, the gap between the two people became deeper and deeper. Yang Ming tentatively sent a chat emoji to Zhao Ying, but he did not expect to get a quick reply. What? The relationship between Yang Ming and Zhao Ying on the internet was more and more ambiguous. Yang Ming could always find a suitable topic for Zhao Ying. After all, Yang Ming knew Zhao Ying in reality very well. Why are you online at this time? Yang Ming felt a little strange. It was the afternoon. Zhao Ying should be in class. Haven't you heard that you can hang up on QQ on the phone? Zhao Ying sent a very speechless emoji. I don't know. I only know that you can read novels on the phone. Yang Ming replied. Zhao Ying was also very irritated recently, especially after seeing Yang Ming with Sun Jia that night. She was even more so. She didn't expect that her good friend Sun Jia was actually Yang Ming's woman. Although Zhao Ying had no other thoughts about Sun Jia, she felt a little annoyed in her heart. Why are all my friends related to Yang Ming, but I don't have the slightest progress? Zhao Ying felt that her relationship with Yang Ming was gradually drifting apart. They were no longer as close as they were in Songjiang No. 4 High School. That spring moonlit night could no longer be reproduced. As Yang Ming gradually matured, there were more and more girls around him. Zhao Ying felt that she had no advantage at all. Of course, this was only one of the reasons why Zhao Ying was irritated. The other reason was what made Zhao Ying feel most overwhelmed. Zhao Ying felt that she really seemed to have feelings for, there's no true love in this world. As the content of the two people's chat became more ambiguous, the number of times, there's no true love in this world, called her wife and dear, increased. Zhao Ying wasn't as disgusted as she was at the beginning. Instead, it sounded very comfortable. In order to be able to chat with there's no true love in this world often, Zhao Ying even installed QQ on her mobile phone. She was online wherever she went. Zhao Ying consciously felt that she wasn't a fickle person. On the contrary, she was very dedicated and persistent. Otherwise, she wouldn't quit her job in school and go to the same university as Yang Ming. However, Zhao Ying's feelings for, there's no true love in this world, were similar to Yang Ming's feelings. Just like when she just liked Yang Ming, she wasn't very sure. This was the most annoying thing for Zhao Ying. How can I be like this? Obviously, I have decided to like Yang Ming for a lifetime, but how can I be tempted by other people? However, it had to be said that sometimes, there's no true love in this world gave her the same feeling as Yang Ming. Sometimes, Zhao Ying even regarded him as a substitute for Yang Ming. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.